side of the backboard.
Yeah. At a certain point, see how the ball is angling in. And that,
He's good. Take your time.
Pick by Edwards. No numbers. Edwards for the lead. He's got it. He's doing the same thing he did in game one. Taking over.
Where do you go right now through the stripes?
KD, give the ball to KD, especially with Chet. 9 seconds left. Stripes looking for the win. James inside, out. Fox, pump. Fox for the win. Swiper! Switch with Towns. This is the matchup they want. 5 to shoot. Leonard, cross, step back 3. He's got it! Straight cash for Kawhi. This dude is unreal. The legend of King High School in Riverside, California.
Redick drops to the bottom. Alongside Elliott, in the wall goes Herbst, and Tyler Redick comes to the line.
Wow.
A shower of sparks behind him. Unbelievable.
Unreal.
Didn't really hear of him all day long until the last lap.
We feel the love. We understand exactly what he did. And I mean, we just hung in there all day. I mean, we great strategy by the team, and we gave ourselves a chance at the end. And look, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It feels like I won a championship, but until I get my ring, I won't even know.
All right, what size ring do you wear? Did you tell?
Size 13. Size 13.
Hey, happy early birthday.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it.
All right.
This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. And yes, Michael Jordan, a 7th championship with the Daytona 500, which, quite frankly, I didn't even realize was running until it was about on lap 200. How are we doing today, gentlemen? We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. I am Rob Rozycki. Again, this is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network.
Yeah, doing good. Busy weekend with the NBA All-Star Weekend. I enjoy the NBA All-Star Weekend, and maybe I'm one of the last few people that do enjoy the festivities, but I enjoyed that and, enjoying some Olympics action and just kicking it, fellas, just kicking it. Glad to be back with you guys on a Sunday night. Double A, how you feeling, man?
You know what I realized? This is the one weekend where this is going to sound like nuts, what I'm about to say, but I think you both will get it. If you like whatever you like, you probably love it. And if you have years upon years of disappointment, like a lot of people do with the All-Star Weekend, you're going to go in hating it. You don't want to hear the announcers talking about, they're playing hard, they're doing this, they're doing that. Well, where was this all these years ago? So, you're gonna I'm working out at the gym this morning, and on one of the televisions, I thought it was a documentary about Daytona, and I see like, oh crap, that's actual pre-show coverage of Daytona.
Yeah. Again, I didn't even realize it was happening. I think because the Super Bowl was on Fox last year, we got a big, nice dose of all the ad campaign. It was a Peacock extravaganza, so it was all Olympics and NBA All-Star game. But speaking of the All-Star game, and the conundrum that is the NBA All-Star game, I guess in this gimmick fest, it was USA versus the world. We had Team Stars, Team Stripes, and Team other? I think that was the Euros or the Team World.
Team World, yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that here. Again, just kind of round robin thing that ended up in a final. Team Stars defeats Team Stripes 47-21. Whatever that means, I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I was kind of one of those guys that Double A was referring to that these 151 to 147 schnog fests just got a little old for me to watch. So I decided to spend my time doing other more happier things.
Dude, you missed out. I'll just say you missed out a little bit, though. I can't lie. This was like the most competitive All-Star game we've seen in years, and I think they might have a fun format for right now. You look at it, you see between the world team and the two U.S. teams, the round robin matchup. Now the finals game wasn't good. The championship game not very good. But the games leading up to that were very fun. And you look at Victor Wembanyama, like he was having a lot of fun competing, and he was frustrated when they lost the first game. I think it was very intriguing for what it was. Are we going to get the All-Star games back from like the 90s and whatnot where they were competing a little bit harder? No. But it was fun. But Double A, I get your point too, where they were definitely making a point to acknowledge that the players were playing a lot harder than they had in years past. And it's like, well, why did it take switching up the concept 3-4 different times in the last 4 or 5 years to have this kind of competition?
Well, first off, with the coverage, it felt like I was watching cable news, as opposed to I'm like, okay, we know it's good, right? We know they're actually playing hard. And then with the concept though, and I want to actually thank Kevin Durant for basically opening it up. Yeah, East versus West. Nobody really cares about that. You got James Harden talking about loyalty really doesn't matter. It's all business.
Well, and I'll let you finish real quick. But the East thing mattered big time when free agency wasn't really a thing, or even what it is now. Like you had guys staying on teams longer with more of an identity. But yeah, now with Durant saying that on his 5th team, that is kind of indicative of the modern NBA where it is so transient.
Right. And it's the same deal, to this point, even with baseball, like back in the day, American League teams didn't face National League teams, even pre-interleague. Like it felt special from that standpoint. But Durant pretty much opened the floor earlier this week in a press conference, basically saying, wait a minute, you guys call out old heads all the time, me, LeBron, others, for not playing hard. What about Luka? What about Jokic? What about all these other guys who don't do anything? And I think it's one thing about conferences. Again, nobody cares. But when it's people from other countries coming in and, hey, they're going to look better than you, I do think those players played hard this weekend, played hard today, because a lot of people took offense to their generation of players, right? Their group of players. You got the young guy. The reason why that championship game was a blowout was because the young guys finally said, this is our effing league now. Like, I'm sick and tired of you guys talking about Durant and LeBron and Stephen Curry and all these other guys. Like, this is our league now. And then the other guys are saying, we built this brand. We built the NBA off of our backs. Why is Wemby and Luka, why are they getting all the shine where, like it's our league? So I think there was, because of this format, somehow, some way, there was a lot of personal stuff that went into how competitive these games were today.
Well, and the thing is, and I understand the rivalries, because I think they did a good job with, the split of the American squad where you did have, the unks versus the nephews, and, with the world team doing what they were doing. So there was, you did kind of have mini rivalries in all 3 of those matchups there, even between the states here. So that was cool. But the thing is that we're only here right now, and we're only rolling our eyes, and they only the only reason they had something to prove in the first place was because they were completely half-assing it the last half decade. And, I understand, Eli was talking about the games of the 90s and stuff like that. I know we always kind of romanticize everything from a previous generation. Those things weren't that much competitive either, but they kind of at least knew when to turn it on at the right time. They weren't even doing that the last few years. That's the only reason why we're in this situation to begin with. That's the only reason why we needed a gimmick to begin with, is because by and large, nobody gave 2 shits. So this is a problem they created in their own in a lot of ways. But it seems like with the rivalries, they did have a little fun with kind of how everything's structured. Now, I know, what was it on First Things First on Fox? Nick Wright had the idea of black guys versus white guys.
That would be competitive. Yeah, if you want to solve your
I
competitive,
guess they pick who gets Jaime Jaquez, but whatever.
There are certain things, Rob, and yeah, they politically correct to say, but everyone who watched that clip, I think almost everyone who watched that knows. Yeah, that ain't a bad idea. There are certain things that will get men to play hard, and that's one of them.
A race war.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Because we don't need any more. That's what we need more of right now in this country is racial division. That just sounds wonderful, and that would help so many things out at this point.
Oh yeah. It's such a terrible idea. It's almost brilliant.
Yeah,
that's what that is, and maybe honestly, to a lesser degree, especially with today's political climate, maybe USA versus internationals, if you really want to go down that path, is probably not the best course of action.
We don't really need the USA versus the world either. I think that's kind of echoing a lot of other parts of the news cycle right now.
Yeah.
We're just happy no one was deported off the international squad. We're just thrilled that everybody's ready to go and get the second half of the season started.
That is correct. Yes.
I will say this though, like Victor Wembanyama, like I said, I think him and this next generation are trying to make the All-Star game serious again. He was definitely frustrated losing those games. You could actually see like frustration when the guys lost the games, and I do think that it can get back to a serious point. I mean, are they going to be playing competitive maybe the whole game? No, but I think this round robin, they only played a 12-minute game, so you have to score. The first game went to overtime. It was competitive. There was game-winning shots. It had what you were looking for in a basketball game and a little bit of defense. So I think, like, this was something they can build on. Can they? Those are two different things.
Is this repeatable? That's going to be the question.
Yeah.
Can you do this format again next year?
It was fun. I mean, AA, we were talking off air. Saturday night was a little rough. I still rock with Saturday night, the All-Star, just because it's like something I remember growing up on, like Nate Robinson winning the slam dunk contest. But it's not as good. We saw that clip of Jace Richardson at the beginning smacking his head against the backboard. So I mean,
well, you know what saved him? His afro.
Yeah.
So in that open, it appeared like he smacked his head. But his hair provided the buffer between the court and his head. So,
I'm sure just as he intended.
Just as he intended, yes.
Some of the finest talent the G League has to offer in that dunk competition. I'll tell you what, man.
Well, my complaint, though, too,
was that nobody was in there?
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's every year. I mean, but the thing was, like, so Peacock, Eli and I got home late. We was out, network business. Rob, you were on the air at iHeart.
No, I was aware.
But like because the event started at 5, I didn't get back here till like 8:00. So I wanted to go back and watch, the Peacock broadcast. They only saved the dunk contest.
Yeah, what?
I'm like, I wanted to see. The one event that I know I'm not going to be disappointed in is the 3-point contest. Donovan Mitchell was in it. Dame, I think we'll get to Dame. I think in news and notes later on.
On one leg, yeah.
But like that's the one contest I wanted to see, and Peacock didn't even save it.
Well, here's the good news, double is you can maybe watch the highlights on Twitter or just I guess wait till next year. But it was intriguing. It was an interesting All-Star weekend. Like some things that I guess you wanted to see or expect, like Damian Lillard. I know we're gonna talk about it later. But yeah, that was crazy. The one leg Damian Lillard effort in a Portland Trailblazers uniform. Who would have thought in 2026 a few years ago being in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform, and it's kind of crazy.
I think a lot of people forgot he was traded back there because he has been hurt for so long. Yeah.
I did not have on my bingo card the All-Star game being more competitive than the Super Bowl. I did not have that on my band.
I mean, for completely different reasons, but yeah, I guess, well, maybe not the final game, but yeah, from what you guys are saying, the first preliminary games of this extravaganza were. So yeah. I guess, this is the first, I would think the NBA is going to consider this a win, because for the first time in a while, we're not completely shit canning the NBA after the All-Star game, which seems to be like the Masters, a tradition like any other.
Well,
so I guess it's better off for them. But
let me ask you both this, though, because not just the All-Star, but just in general, it seems like the NBA is just flat out taking L after L after L as a company. I mean, us here in Cleveland, we're doing fine because, the Cavs, James Harden, but in the overall state of the NBA, let me ask you guys this. If Adam Silver did not land that television deal with NBC, who's paying more for basketball than football.
Yeah, which the NFL's a little cranked about. Yeah.
Yeah. The NFL's about to milk these networks dry because of NBC. Would Adam Silver still be the commissioner of the NBA if it wasn't for this television deal?
I think so. I think he wouldn't be on as great as good a footing as he is right now. Like, remember, he came in with a blaze of glory because he was the one that took out Donald Sterling. He was the knight in shining armor. That has worn off. I think that's kind of gone away. The NBA's had their own issues, but it seems like, I don't know if it's completely his fault, because I think you could probably blame basketball culture and culture in general on a lot of these issues the NBA is having when it comes down to load management and tanking and all of this, stuff that the NBA has just been getting hit time after time again. I don't know how much of that is really his fault, because ultimately what he can say in that situation is, I don't know what you want me to do. They're getting paid more than they ever have compared to anybody else. What else do you want me to do? So, but I think he would still be the commissioner, but I don't think I think he'd be seen as an average or maybe slightly below average commissioner.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with Rob. He's made a lot of missteps. I feel like, in the play-in tournament too, like you look at like some of the things that he's tried to do to create, I guess, more intrigue about the league. The tanking issue itself too is a bad look. They haven't been able to handle like certain issues to make the league interesting all year round. There's a reason why we talk about, hey, the beginning of the NBA, and then we talk about, okay, Christmas, and then we talk about, all right, now it's the ramp up of the NBA season. There's like certain months we just don't really talk about it that much here in Ohio, or just in general across the United States. And I think that's kind of falling on Adam Silver, because David Stern had games you're interested in October, November, December, January, and then on.
Yeah. But David Stern also kind of had a different player in a different generation, in a different mentality on this. Again, that's why I'm not blaming Adam Silver specifically. I mean, these are the guys that they're getting from the NCAA and AAU ball and internationally. I mean, these guys are already built a certain way compared. And I'm not saying it's any better or any worse, but they're just, it's a different kind of deal. And he seems in a lot of cases right now like Michael Scott in The Office, trying to rally the troops who don't want to be there, who are just there for the, and that's what that in-season tournament reminded me of. Oh, let's have this contest to, we'll give an incentive for the most sales today, or we'll give the incentive for, who shows up earliest tomorrow, or who stays latest, or what. You're just trying to do here's a pizza party. The in-season tournament is basically the NBA's pizza party to try to get morale up and get everything going. And it seems like Adam Silver is, I want to say, almost at wit's end, because he's probably sitting here going, what else do you want me to do? And he's threatening to get medieval on a lot of these teams. And Double A, do you have the audio for that one? Can we hit this one? This was in his State of the League press conference held, I believe, yesterday, and has been all over the internet the last few hours.
We got to look at some fresh thinking here. I mean, what we're seeing right now is not working. There's no question about it. And yes, is there more I can do? Have I attempted not only to, respond to behavior we've seen, but send a clear message that we're going to be scrutinizing everything we see going forward? Absolutely. But I don't think that's the way to manage this system long term of I know it when I see it, or people in the league office. It'll lead to very unhealthy relationships between us and our teams.
If I could follow up.
Sure.
Is there any talk of taking draft picks away from teams that do this as opposed to finding them?
There is talk about every possible remedy now to stop this behavior.
Yeah, taking draft. And honestly, that's probably the next step in this whole thing is like, okay, we're going to take away the incentive for you to play like shit. And, a lot of people have kind of ran with this and even taken it one step further and saying that Adam Silver is even threatening to abolish the NBA draft in general, where you have your, first-year college players and your international guys basically walk into the league as UFAs, unrestricted free agents, and cry havoc and reap the dogs of war and made the strongest man survive, and see a complete kind of redo on the way that we look at rookies.
Well, they're the NBA I think is also running into a problem. We were talking about this on primetime, Chad and I, late last week, or just about. I feel like they're overcompensating too, then, because you have the 65-game threshold for the NBA season awards, MVP, all of that, all NBA,
which is good and bad.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're overcompensating, Rob, because I feel like you got a guy like LeBron missing out on all NBA, which come on, man. And LeBron even at 41 is playing better than most guys in their 20s right now. And you look at that, and then you look at the opposite side, like you said, the tanking, like the Utah Jazz, for example. I mean, pulling all their starters up 17, losing a game, and just looking bad. I mean, very bad in Sacramento and Washington.
By the way, my favorite thing that happened to the Jazz was the game after that game. It was against Miami. They did the same thing. They were like up by 2 in the third, at the end of the third quarter. They took out all their starters, and guess what happened? They still beat Miami.
Yeah, and it's like, but they're in a spot the NBA doesn't know, and it's not necessarily like you said Adam Silver's fault, but he is the commissioner, so he's going to wear a lot of that blame, guys, and that's what it comes down to. Is they're overcompensating by the awards because they're going to miss out on. They're going to mess up history by, like, some of these seasons guys are having, even though they may not make it through 66, 67 games, are making the impact to win MVP. And then you're looking at the other side where the tanking is just getting out of hand, where, I mean, I don't know what the answer is at this point.
Well, I think, but here's the thing. I mean, the tanking is not a new thing. Hell, here in Cleveland, we've benefited a little bit from tanking. I mean, some kid from Akron joined.
Oh, what you're talking about, man. The Cavaliers just were legitimately the worst team in the league that year, and somehow did win the lottery in the same year, just like they did a few years later with Kyrie Irving, just like they did a few years later with Andrew Wiggins, just like they did a few years later with Anthony Bennett. Like,
a
coincidence, man.
Ooh, Anthony Bennett. But true story. I believe that Anthony Bennett draft is actually looked at across the board as one of the worst NBA draft classes.
That's why they felt bad and gave the Cavaliers the Wiggins one that they ended up trading.
They did, yeah.
Dude, Victor Oladipo would have saved it a little bit if he didn't have that knee injury. I'm telling you, Victor Oladipo, man, that Pacers.
You're right.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a big Victor Oladipo guy, man. I think he was starting to turn around with the Pacers, but yeah, that draft overall pretty bad.
I'm with you on Victor. He was a stud. The tanking thing. I think the issue with Adam Silver, he's tried to be so much of an opposite of David Stern. David Stern basically
would have killed you.
It killed everybody.
Yes.
Killed everybody. You want to be the opposite of David Stern, and for years that worked. The problem was the players have walked all over Adam Silver for years and years and years. He never, the low management, again, separate conversation, but that was never nipped in the bud 10 years ago. He didn't solve that. So
they're still fighting that now. Yeah.
Still fighting that. So, I mean, What are you going to do? Now, my solution, I don't think you get rid of the draft. I just think you get rid of the draft lottery and you just do worst team, do the draft, call it a day.
Well, then all of a sudden, then they're going to tank. Then if there is no doubt that the worst record will get the number one pick, they will tank.
True, but you just go get demolished every night. I mean, that's just, and I know that's not the ideal solution. But I have a bigger, honestly, Rob and Eli, I have a bigger problem with Miami and Chicago and Atlanta playing in a play-in tournament every single year and not getting better.
Oh, Charlotte could be screwing that up.
Yeah, right. Like, I have a problem with that.
That's NBA purgatory. That's what that is. That's, you're not quite bad enough to get help, but you're not quite good enough to really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and again, is that something you need to fix, or is that just something that's, philosophically? I think Chicago is going to be doing some organizational changes. I think Billy Donovan's going to be out. John Shire out of Duke will be in. So we'll see if that's going to change up anything. But, Miami, I mean, they're trying. I mean, you take a look at the list of all the guys that they have swung and missed on. You could probably make a pretty good all-star team out of them. But yeah, I mean, you really can't mess with that. But it's the teams that are pulling guys that are straight up not even hiding it. I understand there's ways to make sure that you're going to be in that conversation. Guys get deactivated. Guys, everything kind of, the front office does it, not the coaching staff and the players. And what we're seeing is the coaching staff, the owner's backing them up, but the coaching staff's pulling players in Utah. These guys are blatantly just trying not to win games. And my fear is, and I've been actually doing this with the Cavaliers for the remainder of the season, is how many of these tomato cans are we going to be playing compared to Boston, to Detroit, to Philadelphia, to all these teams that we're going to be duking it out with for a top 6 spot in this whole tournament. Mm-hmm. And that might be an advantage. Like, bro, if you're down here in Miami, or if you're one of the Orlando right now, mm-hmm. and you got, all of these tank ass teams in the South right now, the Pelicans a couple of times, the Wizards a couple of times, that's really going to help you out if you're against a team like the Cavaliers who may only have 2 or 3 of those games. So, and it's also just shit basketball to watch. I mean, like, we're kind of showing that the NBA probably has about 20 more games in their regular season than they really need. I think that's ultimately it. If I'm Adam Silver, that might nip both of these problems in the bud. Look at your owners and say, dude, I'm sorry, you're going to have to take the hit on about 6 or 7, 10 gates a year. Go down to 70 games, go down to 65, whatever it would be, because I'll guarantee you the quality is going to be a whole lot better than the quantity. That might be the solution. And the players, and you might make the concession of, bro, the salaries aren't going to change much. You're going to get paid roughly the same what you are right now for 20 games less worth of work.
TV wouldn't allow that. That's the only problem. It's like, if your bread and butter is those TV contracts and you're telling them.
Well, but then it's going to have to hit a point that the ratings get so bad in these regular season games that even the TV companies would rather say, I'd rather have 60 quality dates than 80 shitty ones.
So let me ask you this.
I can charge more. I can make more money that way.
So let me ask you this. This is something we brought up before the show. So let's go back real quick to, Rob, the idea you brought up. Let's just say no NBA draft. That's done. That's it.
Yeah.
Was somebody, let's say this applied to last year. Was somebody like Cooper Flagg, would he take a pay cut to go to Boston? Go to a top?
It all depends. It's, are we talking a pay cut? Like, and assuming there is no cap, which there has to be a cap on this, but we're going to assume there is no cap. It all depends on the pay cut. If Boston's offering me $20 million, and let's say, Utah is offering me 25, 30, then maybe we'll think about it. But if Boston's offering me $20 million And Steve Ballmer is, who we have seen does not care about spending money. He is the Tony Khan of the NBA. If Steve Ballmer looks at him and says, how does $500 million sound? Do you take that pay cut? That's a whole different fish. At that point in time, if you're talking about that kind of stupid money, you'll sit and lose 65 games a year if you have to for a couple of years to weather that storm. I have a bad feeling that you'll have a couple of crazy ass owners that are just going to completely shatter the bank on the market, on anything like this. And again, it has to be capped. It has to be capped.
Oh, it has to be. Yeah, that's no doubt. Like you don't want to run into a baseball situation. But you brought it up.
No, well, actually, you could get in a baseball situation like the rookie pool money they have, like the international money. Typically, teams in baseball, you have $30 million or $20 million, however much it is, to spend on your international players that year. You can trade that money. You can move it around like a draft pick, but there is, and if it's one guy for $20 million, if it's 20 guys for $1 million, you can just do it that way. There might have to be just a rookie pool for each team.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those things, because if the fact that Adam Silver, with David Aldridge and that clip that we played, basically, is taking away draft picks, and Silver's response is essentially, we're looking at everything.
Yeah.
It's not a far-fetched idea for the NBA to basically look at the league and say, one of our peak moments of the year is free agency. You already have free agency with superstars. Why not look at this upcoming college basketball class, which has some stud players that Utah is tanking for, and you make the owners provide the sales pitch for the rookies, and eventually, and you look at it the other way too, because you would assume it's capped. The top teams, like, the Clippers, can't get the number one pick this year and next year and the year after, because even the Clippers are going to run out of money. So, you got to.
Well, there is no pick.
Kind of roster.
It's an auction. There is no pick. It's an auction at that point. So, I mean, dude, it's just such foreign thinking right now to kind of take away anything but the draft. And yeah, if you look at the draft itself, it is a crappy situation. Why does Cooper Flagg get punished for being the best player in college basketball? Because and Dallas might be weird because, okay, they might be a little bit better of a situation, but you look at any sport, football is a big one. Mike Florio's big on this too with Pro Football Talk. Like, why do you punish the best quarterback in college football by putting him on, which 9 times out of 10 is a toxic situation? Yeah. So, I do understand that. And now AA, my question too, when Adam Silver says we're considering everything, they can always consider the same thing they thought when they were helping the Cavs with getting those 4 number 1 envelopes. Who's to say that Utah, even if they do finish with the best record, I mean, all of a sudden it is a lottery after all. You could be picking 4th or 5th. Who knows? Oops. The NBA's kind of, the NBA's manipulated this before, whether or not they've admitted it or not. So, I mean, that might be the failsafe that Adam Silver doesn't want to admit at parties.
Well, I think the thing is, just the tanking itself, just my whole thought on the whole situation is the tanking itself has become past the point of bad teams just trying to ensure they get the best draft position. If you look at Utah, they're not a bad team. They have Lauri Markkanen, they have Keontae George, they just got Jaren Jackson Jr. at the trade deadline. So they're a team that's just trying to pull the Oklahoma City Thunder route, get young, get draft picks, and do it. That's the Oklahoma City Thunder formula, and they're just trying to execute on that. So I think that's the biggest issue. It's just teams that aren't bad. If Utah was actually playing, and I know Jaren Jackson Jr., they discovered, I think, something with his knee, where he's going to miss
of course they did.
The rest of the season. But you look at it, they have a squad that is definitely competing for at least a play-in this year if they are actually playing their players. So I think that's the issue the NBA is running into, is it's teams that are qualified now that are just tanking because they see the value in the draft class or whatever. And you got to remember, Utah is just now also benefiting from the Donovan Mitchell trade, the Rudy Gobert trade. They've accumulated a lot of these draft picks. So they, like I said, they are definitely trying to follow the Thunder formula, and a lot of these teams are trying to do that. That's the issue. If this was like, I don't know, I guess the Wizards, even with Trae Young and Anthony Davis, I think would be pretty bad. That's just my opinion. I still think they'd be pretty bad. But like with some of these teams that are bad.
The Pelicans.
Okay,
the Pelicans are just bad because that's what they are. They're not trying to get there. It is for the love of the game right there.
Exactly. Then I can understand that them being like, top 3 pick, whatever. But the Jazz, that's the part that's really, I guess, upsetting a lot of people, including myself, is they are a team that's good enough to at least be in the play-in tournament. Like Keontae George is one of the better young guards in the league, and we're not even getting to see him be highlighted some nights because the Jazz are tanking for whoever it is that's going to be the number 1 overall pick if they do land that draft pick.
But Eli, to your point, and I think to Rob's point a few moments ago, if you're good enough just for the play-in tournament, you're screwed. You're screwed.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, Blake. Just to add on to that, I get it if you're stuck there. I don't think Utah would be stuck there because I think they're just getting going. Keontae George is still a young player. Lauri Markkanen's, I get it, he's not getting any younger, but he's still, still is giving you quality minutes and can score in an instant. You're looking at Jaren Jackson Jr., when he does hit the floor, is still in that model where they can try to build a core around these guys. And I think for Utah, it would actually motivate them because some play-in tournament efforts have helped teams get to that next level. Look at the Cavaliers. They played that play-in tournament. Everybody thought, well, are they going to take a step back? And they eventually got to the point, now we're talking about second-round exits, but that's a different conversation. I think Utah can actually develop, and they're just trying to take the shady way out and try to get the number 1 pick so they can – hit gold. Hit gold in the
well, they see what happened with the Mavs last year when they shot the moon and got what from what they were like a number 9, number 10 somewhere in there, and they just miraculously got up to that number 1 spot. Yeah. That's what these teams are hoping is that they do have a chip in a chair and it cashes in. So, I do get it to a point, but. But I'm kind of running through my head what a world without a draft would look like in any sport, in football or basketball. I think those are the 2 big ones. Baseball, we can do that too. I don't think the owners are ever going to jump on that, and here's why: because that puts the pressure on the teams. It now all of a sudden becomes a labor heavy market because they have the power. If I'm Oklahoma City, I made Chet Holmgren show up here. I made all of these young guys show up here. They did not show up here out of the kindness of their hearts. They went here because they were ordered by the league office too. It wasn't anything we were doing. Now, if that's not the case, if this is a free agency, either we go with Double A's deal where he was kind of going down that path with the money. Either, you can buy somebody's love. Okay, that would happen. But more times than not, they would get probably, at least the guys worth having anyway, they would look at the things that other young professionals would be, either lawyers or doctors or garbage men or what does this company look like? What's the environment there? What's their past history? And is it a good place to work? And the teams like the Clippers historically, I know it's kind of the Ballmer stuff's kind of but if you had Donald Sterling out there, or if you had shit ownership anywhere, Memphis comes to mind right now. They're having a lot of problems with that owner or anything like that. No one's going to want to go there. And at that point in time, if you had no draft, you might actually have to look at some of these teams if they were to run this thing into the ground hard enough, contracted. Or relocated or gone because it's just like, bro, nobody wants to play here. Nobody. We have 12 guys on the roster because 12 guys wanted to play professional basketball and they're not any good. What do we got?
So your sales pitch is exactly the reason why it wouldn't happen. Because I'm thinking about taking the football.
Oh yeah, that's why it wouldn't happen because the owners would have to sign off on it, and they don't want to be exposed like that.
Taking the football here in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. The whole point of pro sports with fans is to let people believe that every team, even if you're bad, you have a chance to turn it around. And if you look at the Cleveland Browns, We know their track record as far as
you would have to pay every top rookie like a Deshaun Watson contract. It would have to be so outrageous and all guaranteed, and you don't know what you're getting in that situation. And Deshaun Watson proves that.
Yeah, so like
because they would have to just buy love.
So like I'm looking, Mendoza, right? I'm just throwing it out there. Right now he's on track to go to the Raiders. He's the top pick.
Yeah.
Would he want that situation, or would he want to back up, I don't know, Brock Purdy or somebody in San Francisco, or Sam Darnold in Seattle?
What about Stafford in the Rams, which in 2 years that job will probably be open?
Yeah. So, So,
or Tim Couch going, no, they don't have an offensive line. I don't want to go to Cleveland. I don't want, it's a brand new team. They don't have anybody there.
And you have the option, real quick, Eli, and I'll jump right back in. Or you have the option now in college. There's a story, Rob, you're going to hit on in news and notes. If you don't like the outlook of the NFL draft, give me some NIL. I'll go back to college for another year.
Yeah. Or actually, that's what all of the NFL rookie classes would be that National Signing Day atmosphere. It'd be people going crazy, everything. Yeah, it'd be nuts.
Yeah, my final point on all of this is I just think, but getting rid of a draft really punishes the teams that are just really bad, and they have no problem. They aren't trying to purposely be bad. They just are bad, and they actually need the draft. So it's like, do you because of one bad egg or a couple bad eggs that are purposely tanking, and interchange of teams, because it wasn't always in basketball the Utah Jazz. You know what I'm saying? It just happens to be right now. But, you do punish the bad teams that are just actually bad and need the draft and may not have the capital to outbid some of these teams. We talk about in baseball with the Dodgers. Do you really want to see that with rookies? The top rookies being outbid by the top franchises? I don't know if you want to see that, because I think we'll have a different conversation about, man, all the top rookies keep going to this team, and now they have another OKC Thunder because they had enough money, because Steve Ballmer had enough money to do it.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, it is a dangerous game once you start making it like an auction or something like that. I think you keep it as it is, but you just got to figure out a better way to isolate the tanking. You're the NBA. You're telling me you can't monitor this more? You're putting a 65-game threshold for these awards. You're telling me you cannot monitor if somebody has been 5 to 7 games out in a row with rest. A 25, 26-year-old guard.
With the Jazz and Lauri Markkanen, remember him from here. They pulled him in those games I was talking about because they claimed he's on a minutes restriction, and they just used all the minutes in the first 3 quarters. So, when you got the doctors coming into play, can you really now? I heard tanking is like porn. You know it when you see it. And that's kind of what Adam Silver was talking about. We know it when we see it kind of threshold. And that gets subjective.
I have never heard of
I was like, what
in my life.
Yeah.
But tanking is like porn.
It's like, what?
But you know it when you see it, baby. Is that an artistic film or an adult film? You don't really have to ask. There's not a whole lot of check marks to play. You just kind of know when you look at it.
I mean, low management's like porn. You know it when you see it. I mean,
same thing. Yeah, and that, so, I don't know what it is, if it's going to be like a 3-tiered system or a 3 strikes you're out, where, all right, we're going to fine you $100K for the first one. We're going to fine you $1 million for the second one. And we're going to fine you your first round pick for the third one. Is that how it's going to have to be? And are they going to have some sort of, if you're talking about pulling $1 million or even a first round pick, you're going to have some sort of appeal. It's going to be some sort of arbiter involved. It's just a whole nother thing you're going to have to kind of monitor here. But it is a problem that you're going to have to monitor because it's messing with the product. The NBA season is meaningless. It's almost as meaningless as college basketball season. And the NBA, they can't be playing. I honestly think just cutting your losses and saying 70 good games are going to be better than 80 crappy ones, and we'll make more money. We'll be able to charge more ad time, and we'll make as much money, if not more, in the 70 as we will in the 80. Cut some of this dead weight out of the schedule. Clearly nobody wants to play 82 games. Just that seems to be the only solution that has a chance of working, I believe.
Yep.
So that's our analysis of the NBA All-Star game. The All-Star weekend.
Yeah, shout out to Anthony Edwards. Good job, MVP. There you go.
Hey, Kawhi Leonard.
What did he aspire to?
First time in 8 years. I'm kidding.
He went off. He went
That was
off in that one
disrespectful.
game.
Was he playing
He
threes?
He had 31 points.
I'm sure he's going to charge Ballmer extra for that one.
Listen, bro, it was at home too, man.
What, for his main business or side business?
Side hustle.
Yeah, hey,
I think the more and more Pablo Torre's talking, I think we're figuring out that basketball is in fact his side hustle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, I would like to claim that I'm the king of side hustles. Wrong. Kawhi Leonard.
No, you need to get an Uncle Dennis. That's what you need. You need an Uncle. We all need an Uncle Dennis in our lives. That's what we need. That's absolutely what we need. What we also need too. We're going to take a quick respite here. We're going to rest our vocal cords and such here. One thing I am kind of noticing too, like I wanted to bring this up. It's kind of a weird thing in here right now. You know, I got the office going and everything like that. The one thing I'm used to, and I have, you know, it sounds weird. I'm frou-frou. I don't care, but it's happy for me. I have a scented candle like right here on the table outside, you know, out of the camera shot. We were supposed to go get them today. And all of our travels and all of our bullshit here. Well, I don't want to say bullshit. I want to say incredible shrimp scampi at Bustina Restaurant.
Hey, you watch it, Rozycki. You watch it. All right.
But just in all of our minutia today, we didn't get anything, and I don't have anything right here, and I feel a little exposed.
Well, let me show you what you got to get. Because I have it. It's our new Inside Edge Network sponsor, Alley Rose Fragrances.
Oh, yeah, we did get one of those.
Let me show you.
Sponsors are good.
Hold up.
All right, while double goes.
This is great. This is great podcasting here. This is awesome planning.
We live.
Compelling content.
This thing has been lit up. Take a look at this. Alley Rose Fragrances. I know it's backwards, but this is the actual candle.
Okay.
That's here. And
what does that smell like?
I have the frosted berry.
Okay, I can handle it. I normally go berry, apple, lemon, that kind of thing. So yeah, okay.
And I'll tell you this
because that's manly.
And I gave my mom the other candle. She has a vanilla flavored
Happy
candle.
Valentine's Day.
Yo, thank you. I try to look out. And here's the great thing too, Rob. As soon as you open the box, I'm not even joking. As soon as you open the box, it smells phenomenal.
Nice.
I'm not even joking.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, Rozycki. I know you're looking for a new candle. And I'm sure Double may have took advantage of this code. We'll have to find out during the break. But if you possibly, heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I did, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. If you are like anybody else out there that's looking for a candle, Rob, you can go ahead and use the code InsideEdge20 right there at the bottom, capital I, capital E, InsideEdge20 for 20% off your entire order. So go ahead and grab like 3 or 4, Rob, you know?
Okay, yeah, that's normally how we normally stock up, actually. No, yeah, what was bumming me out, we found this like pristine little shop down in Hawking Hills. And obviously, you know, they're not, you know, shipping anywhere. It's like this little hole in the wall. And we finally ran out of those. So the Alley Rose candles looks like a very good replacement for the high quality artisan candles that we were having. So yes.
And while you're on the website, I know your lady friend would appreciate, you know, maybe a couple of body mist as well. Alley Rose fragrances.com. They got those too.
Okay. Actually, well, what are those?
Body mist. I'm glad you asked, Rob. Right there, body mist.
Okay, so this is like perfume. Okay. I think Eli should wear this stuff, actually. I think that would work pretty well.
Shoot, I'm about to buy some for myself.
Heck yeah.
No, but get some from Nikki. Yeah, she'll love them. She'll love them.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, you know, if you're like me and had to do some last minute Valentine's Day shopping, or even after minute Valentine's Day shopping, that would probably be a pretty good idea. Inside Edge, that's a capital I and a capital E on Edge 20 for 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com is the place to go. Double A, Eli Moon. I think we shall take a break right now. We have a whole lot to talk about. I know we kept on saying for the first few months of this show that when we were talking about baseball and scandals, we were hoping that Emmanuel Clase wasn't going to come up in any sort of playoff games. Guys, I got some bad news for you. We'll talk about that after the break. This is the Inside Edge, or the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We got Eli Moon. We got Anthony Alford. And we will be back after this short respite. Welcome back to the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We got Anthony Alford right there. We got Eli Moon right there. And I am Rob Rozycki. We spend a good chunk of the first block of the show talking about the problems with the NBA. And actually, considering the end, it looks like the All-Star game actually went well because we're not, destroying them as bad as we normally do for the All-Star game. So, okay. But I don't think we can say the same thing about our next block here. We got a story that I really don't care how you look at it. It's probably the worst case scenario or one of the worst case scenarios for Major League Baseball. And speaking of baseball, too, we got our baseball preview show coming up on the 18th of this month, just a couple of days from now on Wednesday. We're going to get going there at 10 p.m. It'll be a late start. And hopefully we'll be able to get all this talk about all the off-the-field crap out of the way and actually just concentrate on the Guardians and how they're going to be looking for, looking going into this 2026 season. But the crap I am talking about, the worst-case scenario I am talking about, gentlemen, of course, we had it drop on Friday. It was the revelation that through documents of a federal investigation, Emmanuel Clase, one of the games, at least one of the games that he is now accused of tanking pitches in, was a playoff game. It was game one of the 2024 ALDS against the Detroit Tigers. And at least they won the game. They don't have to worry about it was a game the Guardians lost or he chunked the save on. It was a first pitch of it at bat. It was a curveball that was about 20 feet short. But, yeah, how are we feeling about this one that now the playoffs, nationally televised, the world was watching. I know it was probably a 1 o'clock start knowing the Guardians and Tigers, but the world was watching on a nationally televised game, playoffs.
Yeah, it's like, what's next? We asked last week, hey, what happens if it's a playoff game, and now it is a playoff game, and now it's like, well, what's next? Is there going to be more information coming out, more postseason games? It's just not a good look. Obviously, the Guardians, it's really kind of out of their control. I mean, this is like it's a very odd situation. It's something like very new, all this gambling stuff. I feel like, and not new. I mean, it's happened in the past, but in terms of like how frequent it seems like in sports, this is just like such a hot topic of discussion. It seems like since we've been back on the air, especially, here in the last 6 months. And, unfortunately the Guardians are linked to this because Emmanuel Clase is their closer, but, well, not anymore, but on paper, technically he's their closer. And it sucks that we have to be tied to one of the worst looks really the last 10, 15, 20 years of baseball. And this is just unfortunate. I just don't want to really hear. I'm almost like so tired of hearing about this story because it's like, man, how much more disappointing can it get? Is there more postseason games that are involved? I mean, at the end of the day, I guess to circle back to my whole point, the Guardians couldn't have controlled this. I mean, maybe they could have looked into it a little bit more, but really, how can you control something like this except for just knowing that, hey, we have good people that have good integrity and their heart in this game, and they're not going to sell out for a couple thousand extra, I don't know.
Real quick, Double Ed, I do want to get you in here real quick, but I do want to say, to piggyback off of what Eli just said, the Guardians are a good organization. By all accounts, they treat their people right. They do things the right way. They are a good place to work for. Those teams that we were talking about last time around that may not be great places to work. The Guardians are a good organization, and I do feel bad for them. And what's the worst thing you could say about them? That they don't spend money in free agency. That's it. There's no other bullshit that's around this team. And okay, the lack of spending is a philosophical thing. Okay, that's how they do business. You can't say too much else bad about it. And I do feel bad for this organization that anytime you do see a new article about Clase, the first 3 words are Cleveland Guardians closer. The first, when you see a picture in a, on a web page or something like that, you see this hat before really anything else. And it is a shame that the Guardians are being drugged through this because they don't deserve it. They truly don't.
I don't even associate the Guardians with Clase anymore. But to put this in the context too, that playoff game, it was 5-0 after the first inning. It was the very first playoff game of the entire postseason that fall. So when he came in, it was 7-0, and like he's probably thinking his bettors. Allegedly, they're probably thinking nobody's going to really pay attention. We're up 7-0. I'm going to go back to what I said about this conversation when we brought this up months ago. I am allowed to question whether or not he participated in gambling activities in every playoff game, every regular season game he was a part of.
Any mistake he made.
Yeah, I am allowed to go back and play detective and question, okay, is it just 48? Or when are we going to hear that it's more? When are we going to hear,
when are we going to hear that he blew a save? When are we going to hear that he – because right now, and you said it, like with the 5-0 game, you spike a curveball. I don't know if they legitimately thought they were doing anything wrong. I mean, there was, okay, this is a throwaway pitch and a throwaway inning, and right now a throwaway game, whatever, moving on. And okay, I'm going to get the guy out anyway, so who cares? I could see that running through somebody's head at some point in time. But yeah, is it more? Is it blowing a save? Is it truly altering the win-loss instead of just one at bat?
Because I'm looking at that 2024 season. I'm like, Clase could have played better than what he did. And I'm like, dude, I cannot. I hope I'm wrong on this. It would not shock me. We're on the air 3, 4, 5 months from now, and we found out that he blew saves. He blew saves due to betting. That would tick me off. Because in my mind, I already have the guilty until proven innocent theory that he did that.
Well, and this is where baseball is shaking in their boots right now. Because, anytime you start talking about controversies in sports, if it is, Brian Flores's discrimination lawsuit, if it's, any of these internal investigations that the NBA's had to run, they get that Waddell Lipton in there, they get the private firm, they conduct an investigation, and then they choose what we know. They release the information that they want released. This is not that. This is a federal investigation. The DOJ don't give two shits about baseball's PR problem. They don't care about the schedule. If it's going to drop the day before the World Series or the day before the All-Star break or the day before opening day, which day before opening day could very well be the case. The trial is scheduled for March 5th. So that would time out end of March. So they don't care. And that means they'll put the information out and not really triage it. It's going to be just out there for public consumption. And baseball has no control over it. Baseball has no control over that flow. And I think for any sports league, when you don't have control over, or any company, when you don't have control over a PR situation, that's the worst case scenario. And so, yeah, the hits are just going to keep on coming to baseball. And it's not that baseball doesn't have their hands up. They just don't know where it's coming from or when it's coming. So it's going to be a bad time for baseball, I would think, with the timing of this, if there is anything, like blowing saves, like, doing a little bit more than spiking a curveball here and there. If that does come out, baseball can't control that.
I want to read this real quick. This is from Yahoo Sports. And I apologize to our viewers. Yes, we look at notes during the show, so whatever. So this Yahoo Sports, it was responding to Zach Meisel recapping this. But let's go back to that playoff run in 2024, the ALCS against the Yankees. And again, this is from Yahoo Sports. While Clase pitched fine enough against the Tigers with no real signs of struggle, against the Yankees, he completely fell apart. He will lose 2 of the games for the Guards while blowing a save in a third. In 2 of those games, in games 3 and 4, Class A came in with either a lead or a tied score, only to blow both of those outcomes. The Guardians would still win the game he blew the save on in game 3.
That was a David Fry home run.
Correct. But they lost game 4.
Yeah.
So just to think back to, and then he also says it's impossible to say the Guardians win the series if everyone's doing their job to the best of their abilities. But for Class A to be accused of what he's being accused of and going 0 for 2 with another outing where he blew a save, it's hard to say for sure they couldn't have. So I can't. Yeah. And then the next line of that story, assuming the allegations are true, Class A may have cost his team a chance to make the World Series.
Yeah.
That's the part in my mind, Eli, that's the part that pisses me off more than anything else in Cleveland sports if this is true.
Yeah, it's really disappointing. And, it's like now you're seeing the list. We talked about it, last week on the show or a few weeks ago, whenever, about where does Class A rank now with Art Modell and, different guys that have been brought in here that are, for one way or another, have been a bad look on Cleveland sports. And Class A is going to be on that list for a long time. He'll probably never be off that list. And as his case continues, it's like, he's making a case for number 1. But it's just a bad look, and it's disappointing because that Guardians team really was a lot of fun to watch in 2024. It really felt like out of all the runs, that may have been the team. And to see all this news coming out, it's disappointing. It sucks that the Guardians are tied to this. And, yeah, I mean, it seems like, to Rob's point, it might drop opening day. And it's like, how much will this affect the Guardians going forward? I know they've released their ties, but their name is still being brought up in this. And you wonder if, just this looming BS around there, how much is going to tie to the Guardians come opening day and going forward.
The question I have is a little bit more than just, ancillary BS here. You talk about spiking curveballs on a consistent basis. This is when the lack of turnover for the Guardians is not going to be a good thing. Austin Hedges, Bo Naylor, David Fry, they have been catching Emmanuel Clase for the last 3 years, by and large, and with a couple of, I think a few other random guys in there. Yeah. Did any of the infielders pick up on anything? Long story short, if I'm a, Nimrod sports talk host and I'm having these questions, don't you think a federal prosecutor is going to have those kind of questions? And when I'm talking about more than just ancillary bullshit, I'm talking about, are they going to have to sit down for a deposition? Are they going to have to sit down for information gathering purposes? And are we going to have to figure out, or the Fed's going to have to parse through truth beats? And again, they don't care. They're not baseball. Who knew what? Who knew what? And was there anybody suspected anything? Was there anybody else in on it? Again, these are questions that I don't think are crazy to ask if I'm a federal prosecutor in this situation. So
I'll take it a step further. I'll answer the question. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Just taking an educated guess. The answer is yes, because now you're talking playoff games. Now you're talking, the DOJ, okay, fine, random regular season. I mean, it's still a crime. But random regular season game, fine. Okay, 48's a big number. Okay, now we're talking playoff games. Now we got to look into this ALCS. To me, we got to look at that ALCS right now.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about and excuse me, I wish I could use the same disappointing language that you used, Eli. I'm freaking infuriated right now because if that is true, that mother effer cost us a trip to the World effing Series. And it's hard enough to get to the World Series. It's harder to get to the World Series than any other sport. And the fact this dude did that, allegedly, if this is found to be true, and I'm cleaning my language up, but if that is all true, to me, he would be, I would at least say 1B as far as villain. I mean, you can't take an entire football team away. So Art Modell will always be 1A. But
well, the thing is, and we talked about a little bit about this on WTAM the other day, was at least with the Modell stuff, he is the hero of somebody's story. If you ask the city of Baltimore, he did good. legitimately. And I don't think I could fault them for saying that. He brought the NFL, or was a conduit to bring the NFL back to Baltimore. With this, there is no silver lining. There is no, unless it's a couple of the guys in the DR that benefited off the prop bets.
I was going to say the bettors benefited.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no fan base or team that's better off from this. So at least, like for as devastating as it was to Cleveland, the Art Modell didn't inflict nearly as much damage on the NFL as Clause A has now inflicted on Major League Baseball.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But yeah, I mean, we'll keep you updated too as long as this keeps on going. Again, the trial is going to start, I believe it is the 5th of March. So we're a few weeks off for that. And you better believe we will have some updates on that as this goes through. And because again, he's not talking about suspensions here. He's talking about fucking prison time.
Any news, real quick, Rob, any news on Ortiz? Like,
the last I heard was that he was trying to separate his trial from Clause A's. I think his argument right now is like trying him and Clause A together would be trying the Mob Don and the Capo together. Like the two completely different schemes here. One's up here, one's down here. And I wouldn't think that Ortiz would be doing that if he thought Clause A had a chance in hell of prevailing in court. But I think it's probably a rat fleeing a sinking ship. That's
know what this reminds me of? Like, you have the one guy in school, whoever, that like turns out like he did a ton of crime, did a ton of stuff, like stole money, stole whatever. And then his buddy, who is just tagging along, trying to fit in with the crowd, he's caught in the act.
Yeah, the fall guy. Yeah, absolutely. And again, we'll see how this thing goes, and we'll just see how this thing moves on. And I don't think there's going to be really any good news for Major League Baseball for the next couple of weeks.
Let me ask you guys one thing, and I honestly kind of hate the answers that I might hear from you guys, but I think we have to address it. Worst case scenario with Clause A. Worst case scenario, how would that impact? Because I think, Rob, you kind of brought it up a couple moments ago where other players on the team is going to be questioned if we get to the worst case scenario. What happens with not just Clause A, but with some of those other players?
If you find out that there's more guys involved?
Yeah.
Oh, that wouldn't be good. That'd be really
well.
bad.
Then you take a playbook out of what Kennesaw Mountain Landis did. You start banning folks.
Yeah.
No questions asked. You're gone.
Yeah, it would be good.
And for me personally, if I found that out, that might be enough for me to stop being a Guardians fan, to tell you the truth. That might be enough for me to be we're good. And I would say that about any team I root for in any sport.
Yeah, so you can't spend money and you're betting against your own team. Oh, dude, I agree with you, Rob. I think that would probably be it.
The not spending money of it has nothing to do with it. I don't care.
No,
it could be the Dodgers.
I'm saying
they could be spending Dodger money, and I wouldn't.
I get it. I'm just saying the double whammy for me would be that they already shoot themselves in the foot by not spending enough money to put themselves in position, and then they do something like this. Yeah, it would be a bad look.
But if the second worst case, and which I thought your first, when you said worst case scenario, I thought the worst case scenario would have been, okay, he was paid to blow a save in the playoffs. And if that's the case, then you're probably going to need a new commissioner. Rob Manfred has to retire a little early, and you're going to have to severely re-examine your relationships and policies with gambling companies, and how deep you want to get with that, because you will need a reformer to come on in, like Landis. In a way, he was a racist son of a bitch, but he cleaned up the gambling problem pretty quick. You're going to need someone that's going to come in hellfire and brimstone and just start banning guys. No problem. Like, you're done. And at that point, I don't even know if the sport could recover from that. I honestly don't. That if you find out that he was paid to alter the end of a playoff game, that's game over.
Multiple players are involved. You're gonna have to talk to Stephen Volt. You're gonna have to.
But again, we're all the last 5 minutes of this was complete speculation.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that the only news that we got. Yeah, the only news that we got was from Game 1 of that Guardians Tigers when it was 7-0.
2024 ALDS, they won the game. It was just a bad pitch. That's right now, along with I believe now the new literature says 14 games. So I went from 12 to 49 to 14. Again, I'm sure we'll get this cleared up as the trial starts. But again, we'll keep you updated on all of this crap. And I wish we could just start talking normal baseball stuff. And we will be doing that on the 18th. I'm going to, try to make a moratorium on Class A talk. We'll probably have to talk about it a second or two. But again, it'll just be balls and strikes.
Yeah, you guys got it covered on Wednesday night, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. It's going to be late night, bitches. But yeah, we'll go deep into the Cleveland night on that one.
Why don't we talk about something fun, Rob? I'd like to talk about something fun.
I'm trying. I've been trying to transition for like 7 minutes now, man.
That wasn't fun. I just want you to know that wasn't fun. All right, go ahead.
No, the other. I guess if we want to keep this in Cleveland right now, I guess the other big story we'll forego the Browns coaching drama and quarterback drama, and we'll move right to the wine and gold. James Harden made his debut with the Cavaliers. We've already talked about that. 3 games in.
Yeah.
The Cavaliers have won all 3, of course. They've won 11 out of their last 12. They're on their best run of the season at this point. And it seems like, and this is just from my observation from participating in sports talk and listening to sports talk and just talking to fans. This trade is probably the quickest backtrack I have seen a large group of people make. I was on the air when that thing went down. Me and my host did not like what was going on. We were very clear on it. We thought he was a me first player. We all heard the crap on Harden. And then it was about 7 minutes into his debut. And we're all like, yeah, it's fine. Okay, we're good. Everything's great. We're going to name a kid after him now. It's fine. My question, gentlemen, first you can comment on the about face that everybody is doing or most people are doing. But the question that I have with the Cavaliers right now, I know we're in that new card, honeymoon, newlyweds mode right now with Harden, and we think that we cannot be beat by any mortal man. But that's eventually going to go away. We are going to lose a couple of games. We are going to find out where this team needs work. What is the actual expectation of this team right now? Is it Eastern Conference Finals? Is it NBA Finals? Is it NBA Championship? Like, where are we honestly sitting here? Because I think if you talk to most fans right now, the Cavs are going to win the next 25 in a row.
Well, 2 things. One, if you look at prime time, when we broke down the James Harden trade, I wasn't against it. I would have liked to see a Giannis move or something else, accompanied with it. But I wasn't against it. I was excited. I was probably one of the only people.
You wanted more than one Hall of Famer at a trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Okay.
I wanted 20.
Listen.
You should have just grabbed LeBron, too.
Listen here.
We tried.
Yeah, we tried. All right. So, but at the end of the day, I was for the James Harden move because Darius Garland, we've talked about his health injuries. We talked about the swap really just being because we needed some scoring in the fourth quarter, somebody that is going to pass the ball, distribute the ball well, and not need the ball in his hand at all times. I mean, most of his games, the first few games here in his, 3-4 games he's been with the Cavs, he hasn't had a lot of points going into the fourth quarter. Heck, his home debut, he only shot 4 shots. So I think it gives the Cavs something different. But it is funny to see everybody kind of change their tune, seeing like the beards out and rocking with James Harden and rooting for him to go get a ring with the Cavs. And to answer your second question, Rob, I think it's for the Cavs at least winning the Eastern Conference. Now, if you don't win the finals, I think the Cavs can look at the offseason and go to see if they can bring home the king, LeBron James, or if they can get Giannis here, or whatever they want to do. But they have to win the Eastern Conference. Indiana is really, really bad this year. The Knicks, though they consistently are in that top 3-4 in the Eastern Conference the last, 3-4 years, they're a deep team, but they don't really concern me when they match up against the Cavs.
Well, they won the Shooting Stars Challenge at the All-Star game, Eli. The Knicks got to be for real.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm not concerned if Jared Allen plays as physical as he did the last 4 or 5 games. And I think, you look at Detroit, you look at Boston, even with Jason Tatum maybe returning, I'm not concerned as a Cavs fan. I think the Eastern Conference is right there for the Cavs because they have two guys who can score in the fourth quarter, take over a game. Donovan Mitchell, James Harden. Jared Allen's playing out of his mind right now. They get Evan Mobley back here soon. Schroeder and Ellis off the bench. They look good. And don't even get me started. We have Jalen Tyson, who's emerged as really the part of the core now. So I think it's at least Eastern Conference. And from there, if they can win the finals, amazing. If not, I will at least be as satisfied that they got out of this second round hell that they cannot get out of for some reason.
I mean, championship. Let's go. Well, I mean that's
Yeah.
But at least finals. I agree with Eli. Like at least let's win the East and see how you match up against Denver or OKC in the finals. And this is the year to do it. I mean, this is the year where Boston's not at full strength, Indiana's not at full strength. Giannis, when is he? What's going to happen from that standpoint? The rest of this season. So yeah, I mean, definitely, this was a win. Now we got to do it, and I'll add on from what we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago. The Cavaliers knew Darius Garland and his injury situation, and now you're seeing reports from the Athletic that Garland is expected to be out a little bit longer than anticipated with that toe injury. So
he's playing on a team that isn't trying to win a title right now.
Right. Even if James Harden wasn't the target for the trade, they made the right call of moving on from Garland. Because again, the Cavaliers, we talked about it, like they are proactive when it comes to health and injuries and things like that. And they knew Darius Garland was a little bit hurt a little bit more than what a lot of people knew publicly. So they made the right call there. But yeah, definitely you got to win the East. There's no question about it.
Well, the one thing, and I got a question after I make my point here. The one thing that you no matter what, and one thing we didn't bring up when we got Harden and all that went down a couple weeks ago. One of Darius's main flaws is one of Harden's greatest strengths. He plays. You may, love or hate him, he's going to play every day. I would be shocked if he misses 2 or 3 games, unless he's got an actual real injury.
Knock on
I
wood.
will be shocked if he misses more than a game or 2. So you do have that. And I do want to see what this team looks like with Jared Allen being the 4th best scorer on the team, because right now he's number 3. Until Evan Mobley comes back, he's the 3rd option, and he's been doing a great job. And I just want to see what happens now when you do have a 3-headed beast up there of Mobley, Mitchell, Harden, and then you do have Jared Allen down there completely cleaning up everything. And don't be surprised, it may not be Sam Merrill every night, but if it's Jalen Tyson, if it's Craig Porter Jr., one of these guys, you got a hot hand in that fourth, if you're the 5th guy in that fivesome there, you could do what Sam Merrill did and hit a career high pretty much by halftime and just go completely off. So
yeah, how about that? Coming out of nowhere?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a religious experience for Tim Alcorn on the radio network. It was a fun thing to listen to. But yeah, I think the Cavaliers, they need to be in the finals. I think they need to get through the Eastern Conference, because I think in a lot of ways too, we mentioned the King returning. I think in some ways maybe Cleveland is auditioning for that, because they're not going to have to trade for him. They're not going to have to, it's going to be his decision. He's going to be UFA for the 3rd or 4th time in his career. So he's going to be able to pick wherever he goes. So maybe you want a good situation that he's going to go into. My question though is, if the Cavaliers get knocked out in the Eastern Conference Finals, technically that is a better finish than we've had the last 2 years. Will that be enough to kind of quell the fan base and possibly see what we're going to do in the offseason with a LeBron or a Giannis or, whatever the hell might be coming down our way?
I think fans are That's a hard question. I'm going to be honest.
And because you were talking about it with the play-in tournament in the first segment, we're talking about that hell that you're in when you're the 6, 7, 8 seed. It's all about perspective. For Cavs fans, we're in the same hell. We're never getting out of that second round. It's kind of the same thing over and over again. It doesn't matter where it stops, but it's stopping in the same spot.
So you're picking the middle ground here. Like a conference final exit is the middle ground.
It's better than what it was. I'm saying you would be moving up a step in the world. Would that make a difference here? Because, again, if the main criticism is you get knocked out in the second round, okay, you win the second round. By definition, that would be a better season than last.
It would. And we all would know the end of the season press conference. We improved. We won.
That's what they would lean on for sure.
No, that's what it is. That's what it would be. Even if it was a sweep, they would do that. No, that wouldn't be good enough. I don't think that will work because I think in the back of people's minds, for those who want LeBron back, I think there are certain fans who are already preparing for LeBron's return. They're already, and I want to be careful about how I mention this. There are certain fans, even though we're in championship contention right now, that are preparing for next season in the LeBron James retirement tour. And I want people to remember, even though there's a jersey that Rob was holding up there a little bit ago, I want people to remember there's still this season to play. And you're in championship contention right now. Yeah. So I think for in some people's minds, I think some fans, Rob and Eli, will look and say, oh, we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, we didn't make it to the finals. Okay, Giannis is coming here. LeBron's coming here. That's not – neither of those guys coming here is a guarantee thing.
Yeah, and my last thought on it is, they have to win the Eastern Conference because I mentioned Indiana is one of those teams that's having a down year. They're not going to have another down year. Tyrese Halliburton will be back. I think he's still going to be
Boston will be at full strength.
Boston will be at full strength. You just look at some of these teams. I mean, teams always have that surprise year. I mean, Orlando's having a more down year than they've had in the last few years.
Charlotte's getting better, too.
Yeah, I mean, so
I don't know if we're going to count them yet.
You just
Detroit?
can't. Yeah, I mean, Detroit's.
You think they're going to take a step back next year?
It's like you see this in Milwaukee. Milwaukee adding Cam Thomas and a sneaky pickup. And if Giannis does stay there, Cam Thomas being there, the Cavs have to win the Eastern Conference. This is the year we talked about at the beginning of the year that they had to win the East. The goal should not have changed. In fact, it should have really be more in reach with James Harden. I mean, the guys can go score 15, 17, 18 points in the fourth quarter and completely change the dynamic of a game. Darius Garland has never really done that on a consistent basis for the Cavaliers. You may have had one or two exciting highlight games, and then it's met with 8 all-right games, and then he's hurt. So, I don't know.
What I like with Harden more than the scoring right now is the ability to pass. That's what's helping this team out more. Because, Double-A said it. He took 2 shots in his home debut. Still managed to score 20 points. Thank you, free throw line. Mm-hmm. But I think he had, if he didn't have double-digit assists, he had 9. So, he was up there.
I believe he had 11 assists in 4 shots from the floor. It was just crazy, crazy home debut.
Dan Gilbert. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, because I have another.
I was just going to say it's amazing. It's amazing when you have when you're playing against a team that has like Shea on it, that just draws every call and draws every foul and gets to the line 38 times a game. How you hate that guy, but you put that same dude on your team and you're going to build a freaking statue.
Yep, you're damn right.
I'll just say this: 2 things have happened. Or one thing has happened, and another thing could happen. James Harden coming to the Cavs with the trade, it has won on in one aspect on top of the winning. There were people who did not care about the Cavaliers' regular season. Now people care.
Well, you and the fine folks at Crazy Horse, they really care about the Cavs regular season now, too.
Oh, yes, they do.
Hustler Club, Christie's. I mean, I am reasonably sure James Harden is going to help out that economy more than the stadium is going to help out Brook Parks.
Did you know that
they focused on winning?
one of those businesses, I forgot which one, I think it was Diamonds. They kept their tweet up, and it had "Welcome to Cleveland, James Harden."
Yeah, I reposted it.
Hey,
I thought it was a
focused.
Photoshop at first, but nope.
Well, but the other thing,
I'm thinking about getting a strip club bartending job right now at this point. Come on, guys.
the FanDuel Sports Network will be happy because I think more people are going to be locked back into the Cavs and get the $20 a month deal before the network shuts down.
I was going to say, or the FanDuel network or their creditors will be very happy. One of the two.
Right. And then, but I'm going to mention one other thing. Oh, Maria Taylor's on my screen right now. Okay. Focus.
Focus. Lock in.
Man. God. Anywho, here's the other thing.
She gave out the Super Bowl trophy, right?
Yes, she did.
Did you hear the little factoid with her and the Seahawks coach?
Yeah. Did they go to the same high school?
Graduated the same year. Could you imagine? Two high school classmates interacting on that's not bad. And from everything I heard, she was the better athlete.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And
she was an All-American, I think in a couple of sports, and he tried hard.
Yeah, and Maria Taylor's an All-American in my heart. Anywho, focus. If Detroit goes to the finals, Dan Gilbert will not be happy.
No, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. And besides all the background and personal reasons, you have a team in the Detroit Pistons who sped up the clock in terms of their rebuild. And
with your old coach.
Yeah, the old coach. and now they're at the finals. So to circle back to your question, Rob, if the Cavs are knocked out in the conference finals, I'll add to it if Detroit knocks them out in the conference finals.
I think a lot of it's going to go down to the particulars of the situation. Like if we're dealing with like Mitchell being hurt or Harden being hurt or who we play and who knocks us out, I think a lot of the how is going to be a big factor in that because, again, we saw this injuries. Okay. Yeah. I don't think the fan base is going to have a lot of time for injuries because that seems like how every playoff ends for us, but just, we're going to, I think, have to see the who, what, where, and all the details on it. But this is the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We are the main event. You are listening to our typical Sunday night festivities, talking a little ball. We did talk a lot of basketball to start things out with, too. I do want to keep the basketball train going, gentlemen. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. I am Rob Rozycki. I guess the best way we can just kind of set this up is let Gus Johnson say the words for us. And don't worry, it isn't a actual hearable octave. He didn't go into like dog range or anything. It is human being voice, just Gus Johnson. Let's just he was doing an Ohio State game the other day. Let's listen to what he had to say.
By Thomas. But the difference between UVA and Ohio State is that money UVA paid for. Ohio State, they're giving all the money to Ryan Day.
And that's the challenge you have with a lot of football schools is the distribution of cash. Now, how many times do you go to the same donors is the question as well. And this is a evolving scenario for all these schools, especially a school like Ohio State. If you want to compete, you got to pay nowadays.
I'm going to have to call President Carter and ask him if he could just show some love in pocketbooks for the Buckeyes basketball team.
Yeah, that was Gus Johnson there, CBS Sports. Talking about Ohio State,
Fox
Virginia.
Sports.
Fox Sports. I apologize. I apologize to the fine folks in the Murdoch family. Fox Sports. You're talking about Ohio State, basically the decline of the basketball program that we have watched in real time over the last decade or so, compared with the undisputed success of the football program, kind of alluding to the fact that schools almost have to pick one. And AA, when we were talking about this before the show started, you echoed a lot of Ohio State gravitas saying, no, we're Ohio State. We don't have to pick one. We're going to pick whatever we want to pick, and that's what we should be good at. Is it fair right now to expect the Ohio State basketball team to be, I don't want to say as good as the football team because that's top 5 in the country every year, but at least a power in the Big Ten year in and year out?
They should at least be contenders, at least, Sweet 16 annual appearances or something like that. Like, I remember not that long ago, you think of Thad Matta, you think of, Odin and all those guys, and
Mike
Ohio
Conley,
State. Yeah, and Ohio State being at that time, a national championship contender. But I would even be happy as a fringe Final Four contender if you're Ohio State. And right now, their basketball team, I think they got the big win against USC the other day. But anytime, like, Ohio State just need one big win to get out of the bubble, they take a huge loss. And to me, it's like the men's basketball team over the last several years have been irrelevant. And they're so irrelevant that it's almost accepted for them to be irrelevant. And now with the NIL situation that Gus Johnson was kind of talking about, now you got to pick and choose. Do you go all in on your resources with football? And the other question too, guys, the donors, when the donors come to you, they come to a university. Ideally, you would like to tell the donors, hey, spread the wealth, do this, do that. Please help us across the board. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times the donors are solely interested in just the football team.
Well,
the other programs.
Well, I'll use another Big Ten school, and I know it's kind of weird now to even think of them as a football power, but do you think Mark Cuban would be all that happy if he found out that his donation to the Notre Dame athletic or to the Indiana athletic department went to the basketball team and not the football team? So, yeah, and I'm sure when they're talking about money being donated, yes, you're going to donate X amount of dollars and build a medical center. You're going to donate X amount of dollars and build a football complex. You're going to donate X amount of dollars and name a performing arts center after your dad. Like, that's kind of happens, that money gets earmarked for. I don't know, though, and I don't know if you picked up on it the last couple references I made. I don't know if we should be talking about Ohio State donors while all of this Les Wexner stuff is kind of hanging out there. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're just with the way the modern college sports is working, that yeah, you do have to pick one at this rate. You can be a basketball school, you can be a football school. I think you can luck out and maybe cross over a little bit here and there, but I don't think the expectation could ever be national contender in both of those sports. I think Ohio State isn't bad. They're not the bottom of the Big Ten. They're just a bubble team in the NCAA tournament right now. So It could be a lot worse. It's not like they're over.
But I think also schools and players are falling in love with the idea of changing the dynamic of schools. You see Fernando Mendoza with Indiana. You see AJ DeBanza, the top NBA draft prospect, or at least top three, in terms of probably first 3 picks off the board in the NBA draft this upcoming year if he declares. I mean, going to BYU having a rise in football and basketball at the same time. Seeing, Duke have a little bit of a rise in football. I think players are kind of falling in love with like what we used to do, playing NCAA football, like choosing the school that's like really like, a MAC school and trying to, elevate them to the level of Ohio State. And is it going to work every time? No, but I think that's what we're seeing now. And yes, Ohio State spends a lot of money in NIL. I get it. I'm not saying they don't, but I think some of these players are probably getting a little bit larger portion of the pie. These game changers, especially in basketball, AJ DeBanza, these guys are getting a larger piece of the pie to go to these schools, where Ohio State, to swing it all the way back, is spending more money in football and maybe aren't getting these big prospects because BYU would rather spend it on DeBanza, Ohio State would rather spend it on the receivers. And it's going to be interesting more with Ohio State, not to pivot to football for a minute, but it's going to be interesting how it does affect them too with that. Are they going to be able to spend enough to beat some of these other schools? Is their reputation, I get their Ohio State, but especially at receiver, they're losing Brian Hartline. Are they going to be wide receiver U? Or some of these other schools going to be able to snag some of these receivers? I think it's just an interesting time overall in college sports. And I guess AA, you're okay to want Ohio State to be good at everything, but I think those days are gone right now just because they're very invested in football. If you even it out, I can understand it, but they don't even it out. Like BYU, they have it evened out where it seems like they're evenly distributed between football and basketball. Are they great in either one? No. But they're pretty good in both right now. So I think it's either you're going to be pretty good in both or you're going to be elite in one sport, and Ohio State is elite in football. They just suffer in basketball.
Yeah, I guess because do you go 80-20? Is it good enough to go 70-30? I know, you got to account for other sports. We're just talking revenue sports here. So football and men's basketball here for the sake of this conversation. Is it better to go 70-30 football to basketball or 80-20 or 90-10? I mean, like we're looking at percentages for these schools and kind of see where that falls. The team that they faced on Saturday, last night, Virginia, football-wise, they're not good, right? The Cavaliers, the Virginia Cavs, they're not good.
No, they're really not.
That same Virginia team, due to time, we didn't put this part of the clip in, but Gus and Jim Jackson had mentioned before the clip that we played that Virginia team, remember, they were the first number 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed.
Yeah.
And then the following year, I think the very next year, they won the national title.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And then their coach left a little bit after COVID. The coach left.
When NIL started to become a thing.
A lot of their players transferred. 7 of the 9 rotational players that they used against Ohio State are all transfers.
Yeah.
So you got a team in Virginia, they're putting all their resources into basketball. You look at the ACC, you look at, obviously, Duke and the Carolinas. Pick one.
Well, and looking at it right now, Florida was last year's national title. He had back-to-back from UConn, Kansas, Baylor, that no 2020 because of COVID. Virginia, Villanova, North Carolina, Villanova, and then Duke. That takes you all the way back to 2015. Duke is getting better in football. Villanova does not have a football team. Baylor, Kansas, UConn, they are not real football powerhouses. And I think that just kind of goes to show, Florida is kind of an anomaly with the Billy Donovan, Urban Meyer run. Or and there's a few other schools that can handle it. I think Oklahoma was pretty good when they had Blake Griffin, and I think there was I think they had a quarterback that was kind of overlapping him too.
Sam Bradford, I think. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Sam Bradford. So it does happen, but and I don't want to make too many enemies in the scarlet and gray here. But this arrogance that Ohio State fan has always had, where, and you look at the football, if you just look at the football team, we lost against Michigan. We got to fire Ryan Day. Well, you won the national title. Well, we lost one game. He has to go. We can't lose a game where Ohio State, we must win every game we ever play. And if we don't, the person responsible has to be gone, has to be incarcerated, can never be allowed in Columbus again. That's the kind of arrogance that I see every day. And that now spreads to all the programs of well, we have a great football team. Why don't we have a great fencing team? Why don't we have a great basketball team? Why don't we have a great track team? Where Ohio State, we have to win at everything. And I understand you want that from your team. I understand you want that from from the program. It's just not attainable. It's just not possible. It's just not going to happen. And especially now with college football and sports in general, college sports in general, where we're fundraising and you do have, de facto salary caps with NIL collectives. You do have to budget for player talent. I don't know, even if we're in Ohio State, that it is quite possible to have enough money to do everything you want to do.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll push back on, I think they have that attitude with the football team. I think because the basketball team, the men's basketball team, has not had a ton of success over the last several years now. I think they fall in a little bit more of irrelevance, just being irrelevant. So I think
it's tough for the Big Ten in general right now, basketball wise.
That's an interesting point. That and full disclosure as well. I know there's incredible stories going on in college basketball. I need to actually start watching it again. I mean, it's mid-February now.
Yeah, come on, AA March Madness next month.
Well, there is a basketball story here in the state of Ohio that is huge right now. That's the Miami of Ohio, who is undefeated. Only undefeated D1 team left.
25-0. 25-0.
So you got something.
The last D1 team that was undefeated this deep into the season was Gonzaga, and they won the national title.
Well,
yeah.
As an undefeated team.
Apparently, if Miami runs the table through the conference tournament, I think their ceiling is the 8 or 9 seed. I think is their ceiling. There is still a path where if they lose, I think a conference game somewhere in the regular, like if they don't finish the regular season undefeated, and then they lose in the conference tournament, there is still a path where they don't make the tournament. Which
that's kind of amazing. Where all of a sudden, if you're 25-0 and you lose in the second round of the MAC tournament, you're done. That's a little like I think if you want to get down to it, I think the MAC, if you gave them truth serum, is probably hoping that Miami loses the final because they would be in, and the winner of that, and they would get 2 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And, that would be a huge thing for that conference. I understand Miami wants to go undefeated. I understand they want to make the history. But, that would also be history. I think it's 15, 20 years since they've had multiple teams in. And that would be a really cool thing for the MAC.
Or just the NCAA just shocks us all and they just don't put Miami in if they were to lose the final.
Speaking of the MAC, did you also hear what school they're adding in football?
Yeah.
Rob. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience?
Yeah.
Well, and Sacramento, the University of Sacramento, who just screams Mid-American Conference, is now joining the team or joining the conference as a football-only school. Mm. Now, it took me 3 seconds to wonder: are they going to play Ball State? Because if it's Ball State in Sacramento, what is the abbreviation for Ball State, gentlemen?
BAL.
Yeah.
What is the abbreviation for Sacramento, gentlemen?
SAC.
What does that spell?
You got it.
That's right. That spells an FCC violation, everybody. So, that's going to put the poop game down to, that's going to make that seem like a very small potatoes here. But that's along with Miami. That's what I'm keeping an eye on with the Mid-American Conference right now.
Hey, listen, those 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock Tuesday night action games on ESPN is going to be something special.
Oh, yeah. How pissed is Sacramento going to be that, their entire home schedule is going to be on Thursday at, 7:30 local, so it just kicks off right here at 10:30 every Thursday night.
Oh God! Oh, it was great.
They're going to be playing all night games, every single one.
When I went to BG, those Tuesday night, Wednesday night, ESPN, nobody went to those games unless BG was really really good. But nobody went to those.
Nobody went to the games.
And I remember doing my homework and typing up papers and outside my dorm, they're playing a football game, but it's on ESPN. It's a nationally televised game, and people could see it. When I first saw this story, by the way, with Sacramento State, I was like, please tell me there's a Sacramento in Michigan that we don't know about.
Oh, yeah, up in the Upper Peninsula next to Ypsilanti or something. Yeah.
I'm like, please don't tell me that they – oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a crazy, and we'll get into conferences and just how stupid this is, and eventually we're going to see college sports just kind of have to reorganize itself because this is just getting crazy. Because I feel bad for the folks in Rutgers who have to fly to Oregon to play a conference championship game, and I will also feel for anybody in Sacramento who has to go to, we'll just say Toledo, and randomly knock that one out because
I feel bad for anybody who has to go to Toledo. I'm kidding.
Hey,
no, I'm sure I understand because again, too, this stuff just and I know the Sacramento thing is just a football only school, but when you start talking about realignment, you're talking football, baseball, basketball, everything, and a lot of these other sports where you actually are a student athlete as opposed to a prospect. But this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We do have Eli Moon. We do have AA Anthony Alford. I am Rob Rozycki. We'll take a quick break here. We have some news and notes to pop over, and I think we are actually going to achieve our own goal and be out of here by before 3:30 in the morning anyway. Just one more segment left of the show. We'll get through our news and notes, talk a little wrestling too, I think, to start that segment out. I got a question I want to ask, especially Eli Moon. I have a point I want to make about a farewell tour and a heel turn and one of WWE's newest legends. I got some opinions I want to share and see how these guys take it. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. Eli Moon, AA Anthony Alford. I'm Rob Rozycki. We'll be back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We got AA Anthony Alford. We got Eli Moon. And we have a final segment. So where do we want to start here? Yes, the professional wrestling. I asked both of you very nicely to come up with your, and I don't need, 25 minutes on each guy or anything, but your top 5 wrestlers, greatest wrestlers of all time, your top 5 GOATs.
Yeah. I'll start.
Yeah,
I feel a lot of pressure. I mean,
my bad. I had something in my hair. Go ahead.
Double A literally does a wrestling podcast on this network. Looks at me to start. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, I'll start this thing off. Number 1 would be John Cena. Number two, in my opinion, is Kurt Angle. If we're talking just pure wrestling and all of his accomplishments, Kurt Angle. Number 3, and I'm just basing off guys I've watched in fairness.
Okay, I'm
basing off guys I've watched in fairness. Number 3 is Shawn Michaels. Gotta put Shawn Michaels. Number 4, Eddie Guerrero. Gotta put Eddie Guerrero. And then number 5, it's a tough one. I want to say Booker T so bad, but I'm gonna say Rey Mysterio. I want to say Booker T, but I want to say Rey Mysterio. Those are the top 5. When I think of wrestling growing up and like. That's what I actually, shame on me. I'm gonna swap Rey Mysterio out and put Randy Orton in there, but Rey Mysterio honorable mention. That's my 5.
Yeah, this would be worth a 3-hour edition of the Side Hustle podcast.
I understand, but I am merely trying to facilitate a point here.
Okay, I'll condense it down to 15 seconds. I would say Stone Cold would be 1. Hulk Hogan would be 2. Ric Flair 3.
Roman
The Rock
Reigns
4. John Cena number 5. I'm going strictly by box office appeal.
Okay, and I kind of threw in box office into mine here a little bit. I got number 1 is Stone Cold. Number 2 is Andre the Giant. Number 3 is Hulk Hogan. Number 4 is The Rock. Number 5, Ric Flair. Now, one name. Okay, how do I start this here? Okay. All of these guys wrestled good, bad, face, heel, everything.
Yeah.
John Cena. We can kind of agree that his heel turn didn't work, correct? Can I make that blanket? We can get nitpicky about it. I'm sure there were good moments.
The booking didn't work. The
whole thing didn't work, right?
I would argue the booking didn't work. I think he played his part. Just the booking didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for whatever reason, if it didn't work, it didn't work. I move that John Cena be completely struck from any GOAT list period, because all of the names we've mentioned, and Eli, you actually did me a favor switching out Rey Mysterio for Randy Orton there, because Rey Mysterio is the only guy that I can think of besides Bruno Sammartino who did not really ever go heel. And we all know why Cena never went heel. But to be the greatest of all time, if you're talking to Stone Cold, if you're talking Randy Orton, Kurt Angle was mentioned, Eddie Guerrero, Lie, Cheat, and Steal, all of those guys wrestled equally well in some cases, heel and babyface, and drew money doing it. You really can't say that John Cena drew money ever as a heel. So if you're just
hold up, I gotta call time.
At this point,
I gotta call time. When Stone Cold was at the top, and when they asked him to play a heel, it did not work. And I would argue that Stone Cold's heel run in 2001, which they did 2 versions of the Stone Cold heel run in 2001, was more of a failure than John Cena's heel run in 20.
But you can make an argument, though, that Stone Cold in the whole thing started off as a heel, and he turned babyface only because he was a badass for that long, and they just started jumping on it. Like, Stone Cold wrestled heel. He was wrestling bad guy for a while on that. And yeah, the turnover into the McMahon hug and everything like that probably killed the Attitude Era single-handedly. But that doesn't change that and if you look at Stunning Steve Austin, if you look at all the other gimmicks too, they were making money, good and bad. Everybody was on this list. The Rock could flip. Mick Foley could flip. Nobody mentioned him.
But the WWE never needed him to be a bad guy. And if they wanted him to, they could have done it at an earlier date, but they didn't need him to. I mean, there was talks and rumblings earlier in his career, and I think, to WWE's point, the booking just didn't pan out. I mean, if this would have happened, 4 or 5 years ago, and he had Edge still in the WWE and, different matchups, I think we're having a different conversation. But I think it was just the wrong time to do the heel turn. But John Cena, you can't have greatest of all time and not talk about John Cena. People were literally going to WWE events probably my whole childhood to even this last year when he retired because of John Cena. If John Cena was on the card, you're going because of John Cena. And that's the ultimate of greatest of all time is, can you sell out an arena? Can you draw enough interest if you're the first match on the card, if you're the last match, if you're one of the middle matches? John Cena's been in all those types of roles, and I don't know. You just can't have John Cena. I mean, if I took a step back, because I know you guys took an all-time approach, I just went based off who I like. When you think of box office guys that
I saw all the guys I mentioned. I saw every single one.
That's fair. I mean,
I didn't pull a Wild Bill Longson or anything like that.
I saw I guess I've seen Rock wrestle now, but I didn't see Attitude Era Rock. So I was a wee lad. But I just think you can't leave John Cena out, man, just because he didn't have a good heel run, man. Some guys aren't meant to be a bad guy either, that's just like I said, because Rey Mysterio would come up in some people's greatest of all time for how long he's been doing it as such an efficient run, and he's sold out arenas. When he won the World Heavyweight title as the underdog, I mean, there was never any, well, now I'm going to turn my back on the fans. I don't know. That's my take.
Rey Mysterio is a sole exception to this.
In a lot of ways. In a lot of ways.
Just because there's no, I'm going to be honest, there's no way to portray Rey Mysterio as a heel, and nobody wants to see it.
RVD was kind of the same way. Rob Van Dam was it was kind of tough for him to ever be a straight, bloodthirsty heel.
Although, and then we'll resume the pipe bomb that Rob just laid down. Full disclosure, my personal
CM Punk wrestled both.
Rey Mysterio is actually a heel. He's a deadbeat dad. Rey Mysterio is a terrible father. There's a reason why.
Should have lost that match to Eddie.
Right. How do you not allow your son to enjoy Thanksgiving with you?
Well, I mean, also too, as a father, how do you actually put custody down for your kid through a match? I mean, that's
right.
He won.
I mean, it's still though. Come on.
It just shows the count. All right. Go ahead. I just don't know, Rozycki. I get your whole point of this thing, but I don't think you can say John Cena is not one of the greatest of all time. If not,
you can say he drew money. He drew a lot of money. I mean, obviously.
But it's bigger than that.
And there were reasons why he never went. The Make-A-Wish, the wanting to be in movies and everything like that, and he never fell out of grace like Hogan did. I think if Hogan kept with McMahon and everything kind of kept going smoothly, and there wasn't any backstage bullshit, there was never a reason to turn him completely around. But
some people are good at playing the superhero role in movies, and John Cena was superhero in wrestling, and he was ultimately who could you stack against him as the bad guy, and that's what he played a big role as. I know, granted, he didn't put a lot of guys over per se as the next guy, but he did have a lot of competition and different people to wrestle. I don't know. Della, you look bad. Go ahead.
Cena last year played his role to a T. The problem was it was too late. People by that point, it's the final year. Grown men wanted to cheer for John Cena. So it was just too late. I mean, if Cena would have got the opportunity in 2011, 2012,
right,
2006, when people were booing Cena for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
In some people's eyes, John Cena's been a heel for 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, same way Bob Backlund was in the early '80s when he was having the title and everything. Like, kind of the same exact shtick 30, 40 years later.
Let me spin it one other way to bring it to the real sports world. Let's say LeBron does come back here and we actually go through with this whole LeBron retirement tour. Rob, you are well aware. You are well aware that some people, even here in Cleveland, will never cheer for LeBron.
I work with a few of them, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their eyes, LeBron will always be a heel.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of the same way, Cena, the same kind of situation. But, and I'm not saying he's, great wrestler. I'm not saying, anything like that. Like, he definitely was one of the best at what he was doing. But when you start talking like a top 5 list, top 10 list, all the guys that you put on that, really with the exception of John Cena, wrestled heel and babyface and did a very, some guys were better than one at the other, but could do it very, very well. Think about Randy Orton. Like, that dude's been able to kind of go in and out and just kind of be whatever the situation depends on. And, that's, kind of the situation, Macho Man, same thing. He was the Macho King with Sensational Sherry. He was the Macho Man with Elizabeth. Both drew equally well. We don't even have a big sample size for Cena. It was a poorly timed heel turn. Maybe he might have never had the opportunity, but we'll never know.
Well, the other pushback to John Cena early in his career, I think when he initially became a rapper, I believe
like a prototype run. I think he was a heel in OVW.
Well, when he first became a rapper on SmackDown, Halloween 02, 03, I think he initially worked as a heel.
Yeah, he did.
People loved it.
Yeah, Dr. Thugonomics.
Yeah, and then people loved it, and then that turned him, and that was it. But no, he should be disqualified from any GOAT list. Rob, get the
Rob.
You brought up this take earlier in the week, and I'm trying to, because
I still stand by it, my friend. To be the greatest of all time as a professional wrestler, you have to do both.
Stone Cold couldn't do both. Like,
he did do both.
No, not at the top. Stone Cold's 2001 heel run, both of them were horrible. I mean,
Rob. Come on.
Stone Cold in 2001 was beating up Jim Ross. Yeah, that was his claim to fame.
Rob,
and I'm sorry, real quick.
Go ahead.
Stone Cold is responsible for the most annoying chant in the history of pro wrestling. That stupid what chant still goes on for the last 25 years. It's the single worst thing to happen in pro wrestling.
All I know is, Rob, you got on here ready for a wrestling take against one of the co-hosts of our wrestling podcast on the network. And you thought this was going to go over well. I already knew how this was going to go.
Oh, I knew I was going to be fighting an uphill battle, man. I didn't think I was going to get both of you guys buy in hook, line, and sinker. But, dude, I'm sorry. If you want to be the greatest of all time, do both. You have to at least have a good run of both. You have to.
If you're going over 20 years as a box office selling babyface, and again, I'm not sitting here arguing that John Cena should be number one, but
definitely top
he should
5.
be a top 5 consideration.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
and I push back that he never worked heel. To a lot of adult fans, he was a heel for 20 years.
Yeah, because he was such a squeaky clean baby face.
Hey, don't you remember the one time he turned heel on that one Raw promo? He's turned heel before.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
it just seems like a whole It just never seemed genuine. I don't know. It is what it is. But
no, I know. Hold up. I'm not going to let Eli off the hook because I know exactly what he was talking about. No, he did. Rob, he did a promo and he mentioned that. Oh, I could turn heel. No, I'm not letting you get away with that, Eli.
He turned his heel.
That was some of that. Now, if you want to accuse John Cena of being corny, yeah.
But he does actually have something kind of in common with Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan never played the bad guy in a movie, ever, not one time.
And is Jackie Chan not considered one of the greatest action actors of all time?
He's not the greatest,
but top 5.
Do you know, by the way, that Jackie Chan still is not like the biggest fan of Rush Hour?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Like,
well, you know who directed that one? You know who directed Rush Hour?
Who?
Brett Ratner. You know where you hear that name from? The Melania documentary and the Epstein list. That might be why.
If you
this is.
I'm sorry, real
You
quick.
almost gave the radio station phone number, by the way.
If you go to YouTube after our show, look up Rush Hour and just look at. According to like today's cultural standards, Rush Hour did not age well.
No. Speaking of that, let's next show we'll talk about Ray Harris, who turned into Kamala while he was wrestling in Kentucky. So, yeah, that worked out well.
Wow.
We'll talk about that off air. Yes.
Actually, we could do that at a later date here. The most 5 racist wrestling gimmicks of all time. I think we could probably find a few in there.
Teddy Long's on that list, by the way.
Who?
Teddy Long.
Teddy Long.
Don't look back at his 2000 before he became a SmackDown general manager. Look up his 2002, 2003 stuff. Teddy Long's on that list.
Well, you know who Joe Scarpa is?
Oh, that name's slipping right now.
An Italian man from New York City ended up being Chief Jay Strongbow.
Okay. I think this is a great segue into news and notes.
News and notes, yes. We'll call this I Digress here on the main event.
Let's talk about Triple H.
What's up?
If you want to talk about other races, Triple H at times, when the build up to his match against Booker T at WrestleMania 19.
Oh, Roddy Piper came down in blackface one time. That was fun. But just a lot of. Oh, remember when the Rock dropped the F-bomb and not the fun F-bomb that we can use, the F-bomb that would get us censored on YouTube?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, let's go back to news and notes here before we get down a road that we cannot recover and find our way back from. A lot of just kind of smaller stories happening here without football happening. It seems like there's some light shining on some other stuff. First and foremost, Trinidad Chambliss. He was the quarterback of Ole Miss. He was then the former quarterback of Ole Miss. And now it looks like he is back to being the current quarterback of Ole Miss. He was granted a 6th year of eligibility. We got a dude from, I was going to say kid, but not that. Now, a dude from Montana got his 9th year of eligibility. It seems like we are just kind of in a new world where college football just does whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, it's we talked about it with the Trinidad Champ. I almost said Trinidad James. Oh shit. Trinidad Chambliss, and that story, the NCAA, just allowing, I guess, whoever to get eligibility. I know there's a little bit more story with him and him having something medically that he wasn't able to play early.
Yeah, they said because of enlarged tonsils, he had trouble sleeping and therefore couldn't complete the off-season training activity.
Yeah, tonsillitis, or something. Yeah, so I just think it's kind of crazy that we're just getting to this point. I guess good for Trinidad Chambliss, who'll probably won't be one of the top quarterback prospects in next year's draft with Dante Moore, Arch Manning, and those guys, but I don't get it. And the 9th year is just crazy, man. It makes me think of days of Perry Ellis, AA, Kansas and Perry Ellis. When it just felt like Perry Ellis, no matter what year you turn on Kansas basketball, Perry Ellis was going to be on that basketball team. And now it's like really living out, but it's actually happening. It's the real-life Perry Ellis story.
Wasn't it, we were talking Ohio State basketball earlier, Aaron Kraft.
Yeah.
Aaron Kraft was there forever.
Oh, yeah.
He did it the right way. It wasn't like extension or whatever, but Aaron Kraft, that's the guy who was there for forever.
You want to talk about grit?
A judge ruled against the NCAA, so Trinidad. That's how Trinidad was allowed back.
Yeah, there was original ruling that's the NCAA rule that said he didn't get an original waiver, and then the judge stepped in and said no. The NCAA, per usual, in the situation is full of poop.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it so many times on this show. and on this network that the NCAA is just turning into the Wild Wild West. I get it wasn't them, it was another judge, but just regardless, all these types of situations are just going to continue to stem. We'll just get used to seeing this as one of the off-season stories going into years on. I mean, this is just
my question
to happen.
And and obviously we can go down on the road of, well, Chambliss was going to make more money this year at Ole Miss than he was in the NFL. He was going to be a 4th or a 5th round, I think day 2, day 3 pick, somewhere in there. So we're now entering a world where you can make more money in college playing than you can in the pros. And then combine that with, and use that to kind of inform this. Right now, they're going after players. They're trying to keep them longer. They're trying to keep the stars longer. The money's going up. When does the NFL stop viewing college football as an ally, as a feeder system? And when do they start viewing them as an enemy? Because they are behaving like a professional league. And if you keep behaving like you should be competition, then sooner than later, you're going to be competition.
That's a good question. I think it will take a little bit of time with that, but you will see that little by little.
Look at Dante Moore. They just took the second round, the second overall pick of the NFL draft and put him back in college for another year.
Yeah,
I do wonder now. The NFL, what they could, it's going to depend on the CBA, so they may have to wait. I mean, not that long with the CBA, but they did recently put a cap. I mean, years ago, they put a cap on how much rookies can make in the NFL. They may have to open that back up and possibly do that. I mean, I remember how much Jamarcus Russell made coming into the NFL, and then, okay, I'll flip it on the good side. Matthew Stafford, how much he was making, and then now rookies. So I think the NFL, if they open it up, like, hey, rookies are going to have to make more money, because I'm going to give you another.
I'm going to take another step further, saying, what about the NFL looking at college football, saying, that's a great week 0 you have there. I think we're going to do the same exact damn thing, and we're going to put games on Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to do it every weekend we can that with the antitrust laws will allow, and we're going to put a full court press on your ass.
Well, the only thing that they can't do, because I think it's the Sports Broadcasting Act, they can't put games on Saturdays until
they can except between, I believe, Labor Day and Thanksgiving. That's why you see week 17, 18 of the NFL starting to get Sunday games. It's normally after, it might be Christmas. But it's after the holiday that, you see the last couple of weeks of the NFL kind of double up on Saturdays.
Yeah,
there is a window that Saturday is shut down, but it's not week 0. I'll guarantee you it's not week 0. I don't think it's even week 1.
A little bit of, but I think we both align in terms, because
what if you want to put the conference title games on top of the national championship game?
Well, I mean, look at what the NFL did this past year with the Packers Bears.
Look what they've done to the NBA on Christmas.
Well, Rob, we were together tonight when the Packers and Bears faced off, and then on the other TV, James Madison was in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And which one did we watch? Right. So yeah, definitely, you're going to see something. You're going to see something like that. I have this.
You want to take our players? We'll make sure you don't have the money to take our players.
Right. Pin this. There's a topic I have in mind that we don't have time to do now, but pin this for a future week. I heard Dan Patrick talking about C.J. Stroud, and C.J. Stroud. It was, I think a caller brought up, C.J. Stroud should get like the 5th year extension, and Dan Patrick's like, no way. Are we at a point right now where quarterbacks across the league, unless you're like the elite, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, basically the elite quarterbacks, are they just, no patience whatsoever, and you just throw away quarterbacks?
Kind of, because right now the choice for any team with a young quarterback is Do we cut them? Do we part ways with them? Or do we give them $65 million? Because you look at Tua, you look at Deshaun Watson's contract, you look at a lot of these leap before you look quarterback contracts, and these guys are now conditioned to think of like, okay, I'm a 4-year starter for Miami, for Arizona, for Minnesota, whoever. Therefore, I am now in the same pool with the top end quarterbacks, and I want the 50, the 55, 60. I want to reset the market. And so, yes, unless you are a quarterback like a Mahomes, like a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, we all know the ones who are good, then they're really just going to say, why are we going to pay you $70 million when we can find this kid in Miami of Ohio to come up here and do the same thing you just did for the last 3 years?
Because eventually we're going to run out of quarterbacks. Because we're not going to pay anybody.
Look at what's happening right now with the NFL. Like, they got 12 teams that need a quarterback, and there's probably 10 of them out there.
Yeah.
That happens that's why the Browns said we're stuck with Shador, Gabriel, and this mess, because there's not enough quality guys out there.
Mm-hmm. And to circle back real quick before we move on to the original point of the story about, college quarterbacks staying in college instead of going to the league. Yeah, that could be where the NFL, internally they'll look and see what they can do. But don't be surprised whatsoever. You are absolutely right. Where when they're allowed to step in and step on people's toes just because they're the NFL.
This is the league that looked at the NBA and said, you do real good business on Christmas. I think we'd like some of that too.
This is the same NFL that's looking at NBC and saying, oh, you paid that much for Sunday Night Basketball? Okay. Yeah. All right, bet.
Yeah, for real.
You go bend over and give us what we need for football.
Chill.
I don't know if the next step to that is then the NFL comes up with their own G League or minor league system where, we own it and can control it and now have, if these guys want to stick around in the system for another year, it's still going to be our system.
Yeah.
They should do that. They actually should do that.
Well, I always thought like, what the Europeans in soccer do, like Lionel Messi, when he signed over, professionally, he was 14 years old. They kept him like they had, over there they have under 16, under 18, under 21 juniors. And you go to school in these soccer academies, like, the big football schools down south, the IMFs and whatever here. And you grow into that system and you basically are playing, your minor leagues for that team. It's like basically high school and minor league ball all kind of rolled into one. And so by the time you get to be 21, 22, you've been the team's property basically for a decade. We're not worried about you making the leap or not making the leap. Yeah, it's a lot more controllable. Now, it's also a lot more expensive. So that's going to be the other thing that they would have to weigh. The one thing that college football does, and I think that gives them a little bit of a leash, is provide a minor league system for literally nothing. They don't pay one nickel for it.
That's right. And you'll see that soon with a 2014 college football playoff. Soon to be 28, soon to be 32.
Mm-hmm. They're not going to stop, and Big Ten and SEC aren't going to stop until literally every team in each conference gets an automatic bid every year.
True.
But this is news and notes here on the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. Let's see here. We got a bunch of other stories here. Speaking of football, and I didn't bring this one up to you, but and I know both of you are single right now.
Hey, Rob, shut up.
Keep this in mind. The Super Bowl next year, it moves to the day before President's Day, the Sunday before that one, which is great. We all kind of get, the national holiday the day after the Super Bowl. That was kind of the intention. The double-edged sword, if your relationship status changes, President's Day is the 15th of February. The day before Super Bowl Sunday is the 14th of February.
Okay.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So any sort of budding relationship you guys have, plant the seeds now that you're probably going to need to have some time on that day to yourself.
Hey, Rob, That's
Yes.
sound advice to me and AA, who, like you mentioned, are both single. But maybe you should take that advice.
No, I've already apologized. Apologized.
Okay, I was like, maybe
Yes.
you should take that advice, considering you are in
I've
a
already
relationship.
apologized.
Okay.
Yes, we're already softening the
Me and
blow.
AA are going to Vegas for Valentine's Day next year. We're gonna go out on a bachelor trip. We're gonna go find some nice women.
All right, Ace.
Dude, it's a comedy. I ain't going to Vegas.
We're
I
gonna
can't
take
even
out.
go to Vegas from WrestleMania.
We'll take all the fellas from Inside Edge Network that aren't in relationships. We're going on a bachelor party out to Vegas, Valentine's Day, Super Bowl weekend next year.
Shoot, I'm lucky you find me at Northfield Park. You kidding me?
Actually, I think if you guys want any action, I would head to Milano, Italy right now. Apparently, there's a lot of business happening with the Olympic athletes.
Do you think there would be a major discount if you had a Valentine's Day dinner next year during the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Are you saying AA? Are you going to get any? Are you going to get any flack if your Valentine's Day dinner is wings and nachos? Probably.
No. I'm saying 7:00. If you're really about it, this is the first quarter. Schedule 7:00 dinner at an Italian restaurant somewhere. I'm
Who's
sure
playing?
there's going to be some kind of discount.
Who's playing? Because if any team that I care about is in there, the answer would be
Let's say it's a Seattle New England rematch.
yeah,
Based on
probably
this
get the
match,
bonus points that way. It's a game that you don't want to watch anywho.
If it's going to be a blowout again, I don't mind missing it.
That's funny.
All right, we are in news and notes here, though, on the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. So Chris Paul retired.
Yeah, he did, and not by his own terms. But guess what? When you're kind of not nice to people, that's what happens. You get told that the league doesn't want you anymore, and so he had a good career. There's some cool moments. Him and the Hornets in New Orleans early on in his career, and Houston was fun for a minute. But yeah, I mean, the trajectory of his career changed when David Stern blocked the Lakers trade. If he would have been a Laker, he probably would have won at least 1 or 2 rings. We're having a different conversation about Chris Paul. Still one of the best point guards of all time, whether he was a diva or whatever you want to say about him as a teammate. But yeah, he didn't get the.
He is a Hall of Famer. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
He is now going to be on a very infamous list in the NBA, one that Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, a bunch of other guys are very familiar with. He is now going to be on the list of best players to never win a title. And yeah, that might be along with, and it seems like the longer he's been in the league, the more cantankerous either he's become or he's let on, and maybe people are noticing. And yeah, it really seems like that if he was probably a better teammate right now, a little easier to work with, then you're not telling me Detroit would have picked him up for depth or Oklahoma City would. He's already been there for a year. They know what he's about there.
Yeah.
Are you meaning to tell me that one of these teams, Cleveland Cavaliers for that matter, wouldn't have picked him up for point guard depth? He is, again, as you said, one of the best point guards. I'd probably say top 10, top 7 of all time.
Yeah, but I think it's to the point we were talking about earlier with LeBron. It's like, who wants to take on a Chris Paul retirement tour right now? Like, who wants to take that on when they're trying to win to those points of those teams? Who would want to take that on and win a champion? They're trying to win a championship. If the Clippers, with all that going on over there, didn't want him in Toronto, who is a young team that has guys on there that he could technically teach maybe some parts of the game and help them blossom. If they don't want him and they've had him this year, it's time to hang it up. It's over.
Yeah, my thing too, his whole career publicly, he's first off the Blake Griffin situation, police presence, that whole thing. Oh dear.
Police presence when they would check each other.
Yeah. Police presence.
Hello, officer.
Hello. I'm getting beat up. Yeah, Chris Paul's beating me up. Police presence. No, terrible.
And that's part of it, yeah.
No, but my whole thing, he spent his whole career being a stickler, basically being a snitch, talking to the refs about, players that have their jerseys tucked in and this and that and the whole nine. And then last year, I think it was last year or the year before, the skills competition, and he completely rigged it, and Wemby was on his skills competition team, and Wemby followed suit. Notice the difference in Wemby and his attitude year to year. Last year, messing around with Chris Paul, rigging the All-Star system. This year, Wemby was one of the reasons why players played hard this year. So that alone, talking about CP3's influence, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But I ultimately think that, you can't do anything to mess with the game itself. You can't do anything to mess with the resume. Hall of Famer, no problem. What the NBA could do was punish him in such a way to deny him what LeBron's going to have, what every star player has, and that's the ability to leave on your own terms. Right. To say, this is my last game, this is my last team, this is how I'm going to walk out. Chris Paul got released in the middle of got sent home in the middle of the night, and then summarily traded, just like Trey Burke on a random draft, trade deadline deal, and summarily cut. He was cannon fodder in a trade deadline deal, and that's probably about the lowest way you can make your exit. He never had a final curtain call. He never had, a final, shot game. Think about what Kobe did. Think about what LeBron did. He played 21 years in the league. You would think that somebody of that ilk would at least be able to retire with some grace, but no, son, you're used up, and we didn't really like you when you were that good, so we really don't like you now. See you later. So
he'll have a fine broadcasting career.
Maybe. Again, that kind of stuff, though, like, you look at, players that rub everybody the wrong way. I mean, he could go off, it's 2026. He can go off on his own and do thing. But, are the same guys he pissed off are going to be the same guys that are working the TNT desk or the Amazon desk or the NBC desk? Are they really going to want him there? I mean, think about Isaiah Thomas. He was always kind of seen as a pariah after he was done playing. Now, grant you, had some legal stuff to mess with, but that Piston team, Bill Laimbeer was, I think, still one of the top WNBA coaches of all time. I think he has 4 or 5 titles. Never got a sniff in the men's league because the guys he was beating the shit out of every day were now running teams, and they didn't want that asshole in there. And I think that's what you're going to see with Chris Paul. I think the NBA has said, you've outlived your usefulness. Please get out.
Yeah.
All right.
Good for him.
All right. Well, we've spent, I think,
our league for 20 years, though. That it is still a good account.
Again, he's gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's going to happen. I don't see how that could be
his skills.
Denied at all.
CP3, especially his younger days, his skills were off the charts.
Oh yeah, him and Darren Williams.
If David Stern would have not blocked that trade.
Oh yeah, that would have definitely that's one of those moments in NBA history that definitely altered the league for decades for sure. And that's part of his legacy too. And also police presence is his legacy, and
but Double A
is his legacy.
Yeah, but Double A's right. The Darren Williams Chris Paul debate still iconic to this day. Yeah, I mean everybody back in the day was fighting over Darren Williams of Utah and Chris Paul of New Orleans, and neither one of them won shit.
Darren Williams.
No. This is, but yeah, we'll move on here because we're actually doing pretty well here. We're trying to get out of here reasonably on time here. This is News and Notes on the Main Event Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We got that one. This is the other thing. Do we want to talk about NFL report cards going away or Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather?
Report cards. We'll talk about the seniors another time.
Okay. Well, okay. So it looks like here. Thank you, Double A, for making that decision for the group. I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
The news story came throughout the week that the NFL, I don't know if you have gotten used to, I think they're on The Athletic a lot. You see them kind of published every year, the report cards for the team. They grade everything. They grade the coaching staff, the ownership, the team food, the medical staff, the training staff, the stadium, the facilities, everything. They, from the top down, it's an anonymous player survey. The union does it. And it seems like, something that does put responsibility on the owners and does call them out for their flaws, shockingly isn't that popular with the owners. And they have now won a grievance in court with an arbiter that apparently now these NFL report cards are going away. It seems like Woody Johnson, owner of the Jets and ambassador to somewhere for Donald Trump, I forget where, he was the main culprit in this whole thing. Remember, Woody Johnson was also the same owner that we found out his kids were basically running the team like a fantasy football roster.
Yeah, they were. Yes.
But this is the main owner who had an issue with this. Again, one of the owners who gets called on a lot of stuff, having an issue with being called on it. This doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. This seemed like one of the few things the players could do as a group anonymously to voice their opinion. And I think it's a bad day for labor rights here with the NFL doing this.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the first thing I found funny was, the owner who had the worst grade, I believe the only F grade, failing grade, was the leader in the clubhouse to push this. But yeah, that's tough. And I mean, I will say this, though, to be fully transparent, I do understand from the owner's standpoint, like, are you really pushing the game forward by releasing this information publicly? So from that point, I understand. But
I think they should be able to release it publicly. The fans spend money on these teams. The fans spend time on these teams.
I was just going to bring that up. Like, this is, the NFL. It's a 24/7 operation,
consumer report
business, and yeah, you need to see like, okay, which teams, are taking care of their players, taking care of their families, taking care of the weight room. Like, do you need to upgrade and you're just refusing to upgrade, and those things. So I think
a lot of times people, these owners upgrade stuff. Like, I'm thinking Mike Brown and Cincy, I'm thinking the Bidwells in Arizona. They don't upgrade something unless they're publicly shamed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's why they don't want to do this. That's why they don't want the information out there.
And the only thing that, like, Jimmy Haslam will be, I mean, look, I think the last report card, the Browns had a C+, which, considering, if you took a shot in the dark of, what would the Browns grade be? A C+ would probably be on the higher end of the spectrum for their report card. So, yeah, I mean, the other thing too, you want to see what they did well too. Like, there are things that teams do well, but the Jets. I think Arizona was a team that's usually at the bottom of those report cards year in and year out. So, yeah, the owners won, and it's one less thing, Rob, where they're going to be held accountable. They're not going to be held accountable now that the report cards are gone away.
It's the same reason why Bezos, acts 30% of the Washington Post in the sports department, is because billionaires don't like being called on anything. And why should the NFL guys be any different? They don't want to be told they're doing a bad job. They don't want to be reminded about how cheap they are. Some of these teams were charging players for their lunch at practice. Like, that doesn't make the players look bad. That makes the owners look bad. And they don't want to be looking bad. And instead of actually fixing the problem, they'll just get rid of the information about the problem. They'll get rid of the any sort of limelight it will take. So that seems about right.
And you can still win games and run a bad organization. But in most cases with these report cards, year in and year out, we talked about this during the season. Like, it is not a surprise that despite the NFL promoting that, there's turnover and, like, different teams make the playoffs and stuff. You look at the bottom of the standings, it's the same effing teams in the bottom of the standings.
It's the argument against it.
And go figure, it's the same effing teams, for the most part, at the bottom of the report cards.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Cardinals. They go out and get a top prospect quarterback every 3 or 4 years. They completely screw it up, and they do the cycle over again. And that's really the report card you want to get down to, are wins and losses. And AA, you're right. You can win games with a bad organization. You're not going to win consistently with one. Look at what the Browns did with Baker. They had, they were great for a year, and then they got in their own way. And that's typically what happens. The true report cards are the sustained successes. The Packers, look at the Eagles now. Look at what the Niners are doing, even the Steelers in their own way. Those are your report cards. That tells you that this organization, with an exception here or there, there's bad luck all the way around, just like there's good luck for a bad team. But by and large, all those organizations win more games than they lose, and they've been able to say that for almost a decade, if not longer. So that's the true report card.
Eli is ready to tell us what he learned today. I thought I froze up there for a second.
No, I'm here. No,
No, that happened last show. No, last show, one of you guys were making a great point, and then when you freeze, like internally, the other screens freeze, but like you're still going, and like, oh no, that means I froze. I gotta leave.
No, I'm here. No, yeah, you guys kind of hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, there isn't too much more to expand, I feel like, on it. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good look when you start concealing information that can help improve, obviously, the organization. And, yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that the Jets found a way to make their way into the headlines with this, with Woody Johnson and the owner. So that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts, man.
All right, what did we learn today, gentlemen? Let's try to get everybody out of here in a reasonable time here.
Yeah, I'll start it. Why not? So what I learned this weekend is it's officially less than 2 weeks away till my album release show at Brothers Lounge, February 27th. So dropping my album, Golden Child. It's awesome tracks. Not going to say how many. You have to just buy the album. Not dropping this to streaming platforms. Actually going to be dropping the album through Untitled app. So if you follow me, you'll see that you've seen the social throughout the show. But at The Man They Call Moon on Instagram, I'll be dropping a lot more information on what that is. Basically, you'll be selling the album directly, like how when you used to grab CDs, from your favorite artists back in the day. Going back to that. But album release show, 27th. And that's what I learned. I learned, I guess, some last-minute things I got to button up. Get ready for that. But if you've got $10 in your pocket, you want to come have a good time, come on out. Doors at 7, show at 8. Album will be available that night as well. So, yeah, Golden Child album release show. Mushu, Cliche, Gio, my bros performing, narrator, produced the entire thing. Shout out Brothers Lounge. And, hope to see y'all, everybody out there, you two, and everybody out there, and the whole Inside Edge Network. And I hope to see everybody out there.
And when is the show again, Eli?
February 27th. So it'll be not this Friday, but the Friday after. We're in the concert hall. Really excited, man. I think it's real big, and this album's real big for independent artists that are trying to figure out ways to make money and get back ownership with their art. Money's not the end all be all with doing this. You got to really love it for art. But I think also it's, we are seeing streaming platforms take advantage. I've said it on the show before, but Spotify, just Apple Music, all these guys take advantage of the artist not even paying us a cent per stream. So I think selling the album is my way of showing people it can be done. Like if somebody's going to support you, you'd rather have somebody that's going to get the music right then and there and not have to pay $10 a month to keep getting it. They support you, boom, and it keeps it going. Money's a cycle anyway. So as long as we just keep rotating it, it'll get back to you.
Good stuff. I'll go next here. 2 things that I learned. Number one, plug for myself. The debut edition of Midnight Run with Anthony Alford begins right after the Guardians preview show, after these guys are done at midnight. And we'll be on the air. So actually being up right now, my friends were laughing at me, by the way, when I announced this show, because they know I typically don't stay up that late. Yeah. So things have changed, folks. So
wow.
You're going to give me a midnight debut episode this Wednesday. And then I think we're going to do 3 episodes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, starting next week of Midnight Run. So hope you guys join us. If you're up, listen, tune in. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with the show. What I learned, though, also, I've taken on the responsibility of doing Winter Olympic updates for Insiders for prime time with Eli and Chad. And I enjoy doing the updates. And I hate this take from me, because for over 25 years, I've always enjoyed the Olympics, especially the Summer Olympics. I'm not feeling the connection for me as a fan with the Winter Olympics. I think a lot of it is just because I know, like, when we cover the NFL, we watch the NFL, we watch the NBA, the sports that we watch every single day, we know the players, we know the teams, we know the storylines. We are ingrained with all of those things. We're ingrained with all the happenings of those leagues and our teams on a 24/7 basis, even when they're not playing. We're locked in. We're talking Guardians, spring training. We're locked in. The Winter Olympics in particular, I don't feel the connection as a viewer in terms of why is this important. And I think Eli brought up a great point a few weeks ago on this show. When we don't get any previews throughout the previous 3 years of who's competing, what is this sport about, how do you learn about this sport, those kind of things, and we have so many other entertainment options, the Olympics turns into background noise if you have it on. And you may not have it on.
I'm watching the women's long hill.
And I have it on right now, just honestly because I left the TV on after the All-Star game. But for me personally, this is just a me thing. This is no representation of anybody else because people do watch the Olympics and is successful in the exclusivity of it. I don't know if the marketing needs to be better throughout the other off years or something, but I'm just not feeling the connection of, oh, we got all these other sports, but all of a sudden curling is important and luge is important and things like that. I don't know their stories. And for me as a fan, I feel disconnected because I don't know their stories. And the worst part about it, when I do get to learn their stories, oh, the Olympics is over in a week. Oh, they got to go back into the real world. And that's that. Meanwhile, we cover James Harden and Donovan Mitchell and Shedeur Sanders, Jose Ramirez year round. So that might have been a ton of rambling there, but I think sports, like our entertainment options, we're locked in, we're invested in the entertainment value of what we watch. It's hard to just binge watch something that you don't know the characters for and act like we care. And, oh, I can't wait to watch this again. In 4 years, it's a tough sell in 2026.
It's like, what's in it for me? You know, like as a viewer, why should I be invested other than it's USA, it's the country?
Well, and actually, my point is kind of with double A's to a point, but it's more of with a different perspective. If we were watching the Olympics right now, last week or so, we have been told a new term. We have been given a new nickname, the Quad God. And for those of you who don't know and who aren't figure skating fans, that is Ilya Malinin. He is the best American figure skater going right now. He won. He ended up being the linchpin in the team competition, got gold for the USA, has won several world championships, has been competing on their highest level for several years. And this was going to be the only 10 days where anybody could pick him out of a lineup. And that just reminds me, and yes, I know for a viewer that's kind of cumbersome for us at home trying to learn who these people are and learn the storylines. I like, the variety. I like, the fact that I'm going to be binging curling for the next 10 days and that'll be fun. I like learning new things about this. And I know not everybody's kind of like that, and I understand that. But where I'm looking at it, though, is from the eyes of a guy like Malinan, of like a guy like the Quad God. We know what it's like as Cleveland sports fans to deal with heartbreak. We see the Guardians get knocked out in the ALCS. We see the Guardians get knocked out, or the Indians in the World Series. We've seen the catch, the fumble. We've seen everything in between. And we know, at least as fans, and maybe we can put our feet in the players' shoes for a second or two, what it's like to know the journey's over and you didn't get to where you want to go. And the only hope you have is to wake up tomorrow morning and start that whole journey again. And every bit of work you did in the last trip, every bit of time, effort, and energy you put in doesn't matter at all. You're not going to get an extra win. You're not going to get a bye in the playoffs because you had a good season last year. You're not going to get anything for that journey. You have to start all over again. And anything can happen, and anything will happen. Now, and it also, too, while you're doing that, you are still being paid very well. You are still this focus of the sports media world, be it in Cleveland or nationally or wherever you're playing. You have the celebrity. You have the money on top of that. Now imagine if you're Malinan, if you're any one of Michaela Schifrin a few years ago for the women's downhill, if you're any one of these athletes, multiply that by 4. Ilya Malinan, yes, he went out there and he helped Team USA win gold in the team event. He's won world championships. He's won Grand Prix, competitions. And he also fell on his ass twice last night and has no chance of winning a gold medal in that event. Guess what? 4 more years. Do it again. And hopefully everything will go right. Hopefully you won't get hurt. Hopefully you'll have the right coaching. Hopefully everything will bounce right. Hopefully we won't have an international incident that will cancel the Olympics. Anything. And now you have 4 years to stew. Dan Jansen, speed skater for the Americans back in the 80s and 90s, did this over and over and over. I think it was 3 Olympics he dropped the ball. Imagine 4 years of that. And you're not getting paid well. You're not being in the national eye. You're working at Home Depot. You're working at the auto garage down the street. You're selling insurance. You're giving skating lessons on your off time for extra money. You're a regular American just like all 3 of us. And you still have to deal with falling on your ass twice in front of the world and the entire world going, well, you were the favorite and you didn't achieve the expectation. Sucks to be you. And that's the hard part, I would think, about being an Olympian. And in some cases, Malinan will be lucky. He's 21 years old. He'll be 25 next Olympics. He'll have another crack. Not everybody does. Not everybody does. And failing on that stage and failing to meet the pressure on that stage, again, where 95% of the athletes you're competing with are just literally happy they're there. And you are in that select group that are guaranteed to win. And if you don't, you got 4 years to think about it. That and the other thing I learned too this week, the easiest way to get rid of 10,000 condoms.
What's your analogy?
Olympic Village. That's all you got to do. 3 days later, drop them in the Olympic Village, 10,000 condoms, wait 72 hours, nothing will be there. You're fine.
No, they're not fine. No, because they're oh no.
Somebody send this. Somebody send this thing home. We're not about to get into a 10-minute discussion about the missing condom epidemic in the Olympic.
I just wonder if there's going to be an athlete in like the 2046 games who has a story to tell about how they were conceived.
Look, I'm using executive producer powers, and I'm saying we're shutting this thing down.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, the Olympic Village ran out of condoms in 3 days. They went through a 2-week supply, 10,000 condoms for about 2,800 athletes. Gone.
So why was that dude earlier complaining about cheating on his girlfriend?
Because it was the love of his life, Double A. It was the love of his life.
Apparently not
because
at that
he's
moment.
young and stupid. That's why.
3 months into the relationship, 3 months? You gonna cry about it? 3 months?
I think Ross and Rachel were still on a break in 3 months. Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, at least wait till the season changes. What are you doing?
And the other thing is, too, the other thing I thought about while that guy was bitching about the relationship, imagine if he would have actually kept his shit together. He might have actually won gold. He won silver while with all that on his head. Imagine what would have happened if he would have actually kept his shit straight.
Yeah.
You do think about stuff like that. Okay, all right, Eli's right. Let's go.
All righty. Well,
next
time we talk, we'll be talking NBA action. They'll be back in full swing. The Olympics will be concluding while we are on the air. The closing ceremonies will be happening in Italy, and I am sure some other stupid shit will happen between now and this time next week that we will have a chance to react to that keeps us in business every day. We all are very, very happy that athletes and teams and leagues are dumb people. That's what keeps us going. That's what keeps you watching. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We could not have done it without you. And then, yes, what do we got going on AA on the Inside Edge Network?
So Inside Edge Prime Time with Eli and Chad tomorrow night. And then Wednesday, Jersey Chasers, Autumn and Christy at 7:30. And then you two, along with Autumn and Chad, we'll have the Cleveland Guardians preview show at 10. And then at midnight will be the debut edition of Midnight Run with AA Anthony Alford.
Nice. Well, for everybody here, for Eli Moon, for AA Anthony Alford, I am Rob Rozycki. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. And thank you for those who have stuck around the entire 3 hours. We hope you'll stick around for 3 more next week. See you soon.